Good morning. Welcome to Friday on the AM show. It's another brilliant day that the Lord has made. He's blessed us with it. Let us rejoice and be glad, as the psalmist will say. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. Expect nothing but fireworks on the AM show this morning. Thank you for joining. Now, coming up, the news, and right after that, guess who joins us for the news review? Development economist and senior lecturer at the University for Development Studies, Tamale, Dr. Michael Ayamga. He is our guest. And that will closely be followed by Prime Take with Muftau Nabil Abdullah. You know how we do it on Fridays. His guest is Lokko, boxing trainer and director of Bronx Promotions. Today being a Friday, I'm not going to leave you without my blunt thoughts. And today I'll be telling you a lot about Korle-Bu. I've kept it under my sleeve for a while now. I'll be sharing my blunt thoughts on Korle-Bu today. Different aspects that will leave you shaken, I can assure you. But on Saturday, the governing New Patriotic Party will elect a new flag bearer to lead the party for the 2024 general election. There are 4 contenders, including Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. But what are the modalities for the primaries? How are things going to shape up? What are the rules and regulations? Who does what? We'll be hearing from Evans Nimako, Director of Elections and Research with the NPP. I believe I saw him only yesterday at an event. Anyway, from there, Ghana's blue economy holds immense promise for sustainable economic development and growth. The country's coastline and rich marine resources provide significant potential for sustainable fisheries and aquaculture. We'll be having a discussion on that as we delve into the prospects that the blue economy holds for us and how the country can surmount the challenges that threaten its survival. Also coming up, in the ever-changing landscape of peace and security, effective leadership plays a pivotal role in addressing the complex challenges faced by nations and organizations worldwide. We have a conversation recognizing the critical importance of strategic leadership in the field of peace and security. Now, the GIMPA Training and Consulting has partnered with the African Union's Department of Political Affairs, Peace and Security for a special training on leadership. We'll be telling you a bit more about that later on the show. Well, stick and stay with us. That's what we have lined up for you, together with a few more conversations on the AM show, even as we host the MOBA as well, the Infanta Pim Old Boys Association. Stick and stay. We'll be back with the news. Thank you for staying. Let's settle for the news now. And Member of Parliament for Dafiama Busie Isa, Dr. Sebastian Sandare, is asking government to fix the Dafiama-Dachi-Sanwe road. Now, the road was among some major roads in the Upper West region that were washed away by floods in 2021. Dr. Sandare is worried government is yet to fix the road despite promising to do so 2 weeks after the floods destroyed that stretch. Here's a report by Rafiq Salam.
The Dafiama-Dachi-Sanwe road was among major roads that were cut off on August 12, 2021 by violent flash floods in the Upper West region. 50 million Ghana cedis was allocated by the government to fix the affected roads in the region. Construction work on the emergency roads were awarded to 4 contractors who they all executed and opened to traffic in less than a month. The Dafiama-Dachi-Sanwe road that linked the community to other parts of the Dafiama-Bure-Isa district and the Jiriba municipality were however left off from the emergency projects. Residents are now left to their own fate. Member of Parliament for Dafiama-Bure-Isa, Dr. Sebastian Sandare, chastised Roads and Highways Minister Kwesi Amankwata and Upper West Region Minister Dr. Hafiz Bin Sali for using a helicopter to have an aerial view of the area without touching down to see the deleterious effects of the flash floods on the people living on the ground and under squalid conditions.
They did not touch down to even see for themselves the problems of the people. So they never got to this part of Dafiama, this part of the route. And they left. Whatever temporary intervention that came, this route was not considered. They did the Sombo one and the Nudulu one and left. So since August 2021, meaning it's more than 2 years, there has not been any intervention by government for this route.
To add insult to injury, there are no road signs to alert motorists and drivers about the danger on the road.
The feeder roads people that are in charge, whether they have come or not, at least even if the road is not being worked upon, we expected that there should be some signs. This is a very dangerous spot. That there should be some signs to indicate that authorities are aware that it's a dangerous spot. So when you are coming and you get to this place, be careful. But as we can see and as your cameras can capture, if you are not familiar with this road, you may run straight into any of these big holes. And two young men of this village fell inside this water and perished because of the bad nature of the road. Almost every week, somebody from somewhere falls inside here, get wounded and treated.
Dr. Sebastian Sandara said he has never relented on his quest for the road to be fixed, penciling the various officers that he has been to, including the DBI District Assembly, Feeder Roads Department, and also posting an urgent question in Parliament for the road minister to respond to.
The Minister for Roads and Highways, in answering my question in Parliament, gave me 2 weeks. That within 2 weeks, government was going to work on this road. It's been more than a year, 2 years. So 2 weeks have turned into 2 years. And I want the Minister of Roads and Highways to now see me. I'm at the very point, the very location that my question in Parliament was talking about.
Since the violent flash 26 months ago, economic activities and healthcare delivery in the area has grounded to a halt, whilst attendance of schools by pupils is erratic.
Meanwhile, the district chief executive of Dafiama Busiesa, Nadimoro Sanda, says government is working to fix the road because of its importance to commuters on that stretch.
Have been directed, and we sent estimates to the Ministry of Roads and Highways so that they will come and fix the roads for us. In fact, the minister promised, but then you can also understand that you don't always have all the resources that you need available to you, because you could see that the minister worked swiftly to work on some of the roads that were cut. And as I talked to you, some of the roads which were left, this assembly, we using the common fund, have also fixed the Tabiesi Road. We've also fixed the Guonuo Jimpense section. But it's still left with the Jimpense Chala section. It's also left with the Dafiama Barre section, which is the Dafiama Dachia section. Then it's also left with the Chaba Buse section. These are left, and we as a district assembly, we are still waiting for our resources, especially the common fund. When it comes, we're going to continue. So it is not that somebody has left it and has left the people to their own fate. If that is the case, we wouldn't have gone there to do the estimate.
Are we going to have a road fixed?
I am telling you, see, resources are such that, you see, normally you anticipate resources. Like as I'm standing, I don't know when we will get money. Anytime money comes, and as I alluded to you, I said some of the road were left. One is the Tabiesi Road, one is the Bayiri one. We have fixed the Bayiri section, Bayiri to Jimpense. It's been fixed temporarily. We also fixed the Tabiesi one temporarily using common fund. And we are saying that the next batch of common fund that will come, we're going to also award the other ones depending on how much we receive. We're going to tackle them one after the other. So I cannot just say tomorrow next we are going to fix it. But plans are far advanced. And you, Rafik, you are a very seasoned journalist. You can do your research to see whether we have done estimates highways to see whether we have this letter I've talked about, whether I've written, to see whether I've moved myself to the Ministry of Roads and Highways and have engagement with them with regards to these roads. And you can also find out from the Ministry of Roads and Highways what they are doing, what resources they have, and what is in their plan. So normally, sometimes, we politicians, we should be very careful, because when you see you are failing, don't try to put your failure and hit the heads of people against each other. It's so unfortunate.
Let's head now to the Bono East region, which has seen a sharp increase in its National Health Insurance Authority membership renewal since the introduction of the digital mobile registration platform. Regional NHIA Director George Opong-Dankwa, in an interview with Joy News at this year's third quarter review meeting, stated that the new platform had been highly patronized in the rural areas compared to the urban centers. Correspondent Anas Sabit has more.
The mobile-based health insurance renewal system was introduced by the National Health Insurance Authority with the aim of improving coverage, particularly for members who hitherto were likely to renew their membership. The system, policymakers say, was to, amongst other things, devise innovative ways of enrolling new and existing members to accelerate progress towards the attainment of universal health coverage. Bono East Regional NHIA Director George Opong-Dankwa disclosed to Joy News that the new online system has benefited more people from the rural settings compared to those in the urban areas.
Mobile renewal has really benefited the rural communities even more than the urban communities. For the urban areas, most of them think that the health insurance office is closer to them, so they normally come to the office to renew. But for the rural communities, traveling from, for instance, my village, Kranka, to Nkranda town, the lorry fare, the inconveniences and whole lot, they will prefer using the mobile phone to renew their membership than coming to the office to renew.
Mr. George Opong-Dankwa, who was speaking on the sidelines of this year's third quarter review meeting in the Chiman, however, revealed that the authority has fallen short this year compared to same period last year. This, he says, is largely as a result of some difficulties in accessing some communities in the eastern part of the region who were cut off as a result of the recent floods in the area.
Bono East, we have peculiar issue. For instance, when you go to Senate and Pro districts, majority of our people are beyond the river, and we have tried to cross, but because of the level of the river, it's been challenging. So that's the more reason why people we are falling short at those areas. We can't cross because of the level of the river, and they also, it's very difficult for them also to come to our offices. And the rules to network to is also challenging. There are some areas that you can't use vehicles to go to, though we have motor bicycles, but very, very difficult to go. But in all, we have resolved that whether rain or shine, we are going to achieve our targets. We will do our possible best to achieve our targets.
With the recent improvement in the payment of claims to service providers by government, Mr. George Opong-Dankwa appealed to service providers to improve its services to beneficiaries when they visit their facilities for healthcare.
We say every good thing deserves another. So once National Health Insurance, we have doing our part in terms of prompt payment of claims to our cherished facilities or health providers, we also expect them to do same to our members. When they come, the services that they need, they have to provide to them. If the service is within the health insurance benefit package, where there's no need for the person to pay any additional money, they have to give to them so that we all enjoy the full benefit of national health insurance. So once we are doing our part, we expect also them also to do their part.
Reporting for Joy News, Anas Sabit, Tichiman.
Now, the South African mission to Ghana insists its country is safe as the visa waiver agreement comes into force. There have been many xenophobic attacks in the past, with many prospective travelers fearing for their lives. More recently, a priest was attacked and kidnapped. In spite of these, the Commission to Ghana says the country is safe and is encouraging Ghanaians to take advantage of the 90-day visa waiver. Michael Ashali now reports.
A busy day for the South African mission in Ghana as the much-anticipated visa waiver agreement kicks in. Deputy Ambassador to Ghana, Thando Dalamba, says this is a significant step for both countries and a step closer to making Africa borderless.
So we are entitled for 90 days to be in South Africa. How you use those 90 days, it depends on you. Whether you use it 5 days, 10 days, 20 days, but it must be 90 days in a year. I think other African leaders will follow suit, but it's within the AU agenda to have borderless, continent.
He explains that with the right documentation, any Ghanaian can travel to South Africa for at most 90 days without a visa.
It's a valid etiquette, a valid passport that is 6 months. You see, that is valid for 6 months before you apply. The yellow fever certificate. You see, like in any other country, even here in Ghana, when you come, the immigration officers and police at Kotoka, I've experienced it.
A series of assaults on foreign nationals, often termed as xenophobic attacks, have been reported, notably in the week prior to the agreement launch. A Ghanaian priest was kidnapped and subsequently released after several days. Security stands as top concern for many contemplating a visit to South Africa. Deputy Ambassador to Ghana, Thando Dalamba, assured the country is safe.
In our minds that this thing is going to happen. Our police, together with the Ghanaian authorities, they will make it a point that the pastor is back. Yes, South Africa, it's safe. But like in any other country, I'm not trying to defend the question of whether crime or not. Like in any other country, when you visit, you take those precautionary measures. And another thing, criminals, they take advantage of the situation at times. You see, like in any other country, they will take a situation. But we would like to appeal to the Ghanaians, when they go to South Africa, they must really take precautionary measures, not to travel alone, to travel in groups at least. I think it will be safer in that way.
So where should you visit in South Africa? And what should you do as well? Head of South Africa's Tourism West Africa, Thekiso Rokolo Jane, has some ideas.
So the waiver has an enormous impact on the two countries. One thing that I can guarantee you, your entry point is Gauteng in Johannesburg. So already I can tell you there's a lot more things to do. I'm from Soweto myself. So you do not want to miss Soweto. Go and find out where Nelson Mandela's house was. Desmond Tutu, go and meet the Sowetans in their hometown. And you might be, lucky to meet one or two Ghanaians there. Trust me, a lot of Ghanaians do visit that part. Go to the Apartheid Museum. Go to Sun City.
The Commission hopes that both Ghanaians and South Africans will not overstay their welcome.
Let's stay with South Africa as two South Africans, Dr. Jean Cooper and Dr. David Oosthuizen, have embarked on a motorcycle journey from Pretoria, South Africa, through 20 African countries, including Ghana, to Madrid, Spain, to raise awareness and funds for the scarcity of potable water in rural African communities. Having covered over 10,000 kilometers so far, the duo arrived in Ghana and have been interacting with students of the Achimota School, emphasizing the importance of community service. Carlos Caloni has the rest of the story.
Dubbed Expedition H2O Ride for Water, two friends, Dr. Jean Cooper and Dr. David Oosthuizen, started a 16,000-kilometer motorcycle journey from Pretoria on September 16, 2023. They are traveling along the west coast of Africa, passing through about 20 African countries, including Ghana. Dr. Jean Cooper, an organizational psychologist and the chief people and culture officer at fintech company Direct Transat, explained that the objective of the journey is to create awareness of portable water scarcity in deprived communities and raise 3.2 million rand towards building over 100 portable water storage facilities in Africa.
We started Botswana, Namibia, Angola, DRC, Cabinda, Congo, Cameroon, Nigeria, Benin, Togo. Now we are in Ghana. So for this journey, we intend to, we say if we journey is 16,000 kilometers, we intend to raise 200 South African rands per kilometer. It's 3.2 million rand, which will be enough to install 100 rainwater tanks that can give water to 4,800 people.
Met on arrival in Ghana by the Deputy Minister of Education, John Timforjo, the two visited and interacted with students of Achimota School. As an acclaimed emergency medicine doctor from Wangaratta in the Australian outback, Dr. DeWitt encouraged the young Achimota students not to get distracted by the current obstacles, but should remain focused on their goals.
We had a great opportunity here at Achimota to interact with the students, to hear their questions as well, and their interest and their passion with what they intend on trying to do with their lives and future and stuff. For us, one of the biggest things is on this trip is keep on going. There's lots of obstacles, stuff you can't plan for, the same as in life. And what's become quite apparent is that these students are also experiencing obstacles and problems and trying to kind of work through that, keeping your eye on the end goal, focusing on that rather than just getting blinded by the problem right at the moment.
Commending the two for their life-impacting journey, Deputy Minister of Education John Timforjo reiterated the government's commitment to improving STEM education in the country.
Science, technology, engineering, mathematics emphasis is something that we are very excited about. The Minister for Education, Dr. Osedichum, has that as his priority. And interestingly, what motivates us is that the President, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and the Vice President themselves are inspiring us to change the face of our education system, place emphasis on STEM, and ensure strategically we're able to have 60% STEM and 40% humanity at tertiary. And so that we are very poised on ensuring that right at teenage years, right at the younger years, we have the skills of biomedical engineering, aviation, computer science, computer engineering, creativity, critical thinking, and invention imbibed in our students.
Some students of Achimota School also expressed their appreciation to the duo for their impactful interactions.
In every walk of life, you need to put your head or put your eyes to the goal and not just forget about the obstacles around you, and you'll be well off to go. That's what I've taken off from this amazing meetup.
The duo is leaving Accra for Cape Coast to Madrid, where they hope to raise 3.2 million rand to support the water project.
Well, that's how we cap off the news this morning, but stay with us in the next few minutes. We'll be joined by Dr. Michael Ayamga for the news review. Welcome back on the AM show. Time now for us to slice and dice the newspapers, find out what they have to share with us. Before I introduce my guest for the morning, Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic helping us bring you this segment, as always. And if you're a man, here's what they're offering you. Prostate screening for free. If you're a woman, fertility screening also for free, gratis. All you have to do is make your way to any of their branches dotted across the country. Let's start with right here in Accra. They are at Spintex opposite the Shell signboard, Kumasi Kronumabwe here behind the Angel Educational Complex, Takra Dianaji State, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa, and Esiama Nzama. If you'd like to give them a call, which I proffer that you do, the numbers to call are 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. But just the start of the news review, joining the conversation, he is a development economist and senior lecturer at the University for Development Studies, Tamale, and that is Dr. Michael Ayamga. He is our guest this morning. Doc, good morning.
Sorry, I'll put my microphone on. It's a pleasure to join you.
All right. So, I mean, it's been a while since we had any conversation. Usually it would center on economics related matters. But since, yes, I think it's only fitting that we start from that end. Since the last time we spoke, maybe some months ago till now, there have been quite a number of developments. Interestingly, on the 15th of this month, we prepare for the reading of the budget for next year. The question is, what will that do for our economy? Where will that lead our economy? Business, Guta, among others, are saying, you know what, deal with the taxes. Don't slap on any other taxes. And in addition to that, take away some of what they call nuisance taxes, COVID-19 levy, among others. But from where you sit, what will be your forecast for our economy going into 2024?
Yes, thank you, Ben, and good morning to our viewers. I believe definitely one thing we are looking out for is some form of confidence from the economy. We still largely lack confidence in it. We have a huge problem with the tax burden. We have a huge problem with the cost of doing business, particularly in the areas of utilities. And then we also have a huge burden in terms of the cost of raw materials, which is being driven by the continued depreciation of the cedi. So largely, you would want the minister to tell us that he's taking some actions to ensure that these fundamentals, which is inflation, exchange rate, and growth, are pointing in the right direction. Fortunately, we are seeing some uptick in growth numbers, but still way below what we expect in order to be on a path to recovery. So I would largely say that we have, to a certain degree, witnessed some kind of stabilization, because yes, you have inflows of dollars from the IMF program, but if you are watching what is happening to the exchange rate, you get worried that even with the influx of such huge amounts of foreign currency, the cedi is still not moving. As for the...
As of just a few days ago, it had slumped again, and it was trading for above $12. You know, for a long time, we had been able to sustain the 11-point-something rate. For a few days now, it's been trading at $12, at 12 cedis and above, and that has been quite a cause for worry.
Yeah, that is the problem, because in the past, anytime we had some foreign influx, we witnessed some significant rise in the value of the cedi. But as we sit now, and as I said the other time, the economy has become inert to a stimulus. And once it is not reacting in the right way, the minister is all but just telling us things that the charismatic preachers tell us that things will be all right, but they are not anchored in economic fundamentals, and they are not reflecting the true state of issues. I have seen people talk about the inflation taking a dip, but we are in a harvesting season with a lot of alternatives as far as food is concerned. I expected that even the food basket is going to go down. Once that goes down, we'll see some tapering of inflation. So I'm not putting too much on that. I believe that by Christmas, when demand go up and other things come along, we'll begin to see inflation ticking up again. And I'm worried that even the current stimulus and the package that we're getting from the IMF hasn't brought back the investor confidence in the economy, hasn't spared domestic production, has not strengthened the cedi, and is unlikely to get into the table where we are more interested in the bread and butter issues and the pain that every Ghanaian is suffering. So I will agree with Guta and say that, first of all, the minister has to deal with the taxes, because it is making our businesses uncompetitive. It is still making the importation, Ghana, a buying and selling economy. It is encouraging that. So we need to look at that if we want to address domestic production, because that is the only sustainable way to increase employment, to create employment opportunities, and to bring about sustainable growth in the economy. With issues relating to just pumping dollars into the economy and getting some slight uptick in the value of the cedi and then going back to where it is a few months later. It's not a sure way. We ought to give investors, we have to give business, and we have to give consumers even the confidence that the economy has turned in the right direction, and it is not just the usual cyclical back and forth issue that we are witnessing.
Well, thank you for those initial thoughts. Let's get into the papers now. And we'll start with the Daily Graphic newspaper. Ghana Mutual Prosperity Dialogues, 3 actions to stabilize the economy, fitting for having an economist on the show. Private sector to lead growth strategy. And Nkrumah Park revenue shoots up 3,000, that is 3,000 Ghana cedis to 1.1 million Ghana cedis monthly. And that definitely is a jab in the arm. A good one, of course. NPP aspirants iron out differences since undertaking stop attacks on journalists. That's according to the GJA. On the back page, Malcolm Graphic mobilized blood for National Bank. And there's also health facilities within Agyekum range received $450,000 in surgical supplies. So let's get surgical with the news. The government is racing to complete 3 critical actions necessary for economic stability and turnaround by the end of the year to pave the way for continuous growth and job creation next year. The Minister of Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, who disclosed this in Accra yesterday, said the private sector was at the center of a growth strategy the government approved a fortnight ago. He said having completed the painful but necessary domestic debt exchange program this year, the government was also on course to conclude negotiations with independent power producers and also obtain approval from the IMF Executive Board to trigger the release of another tranche of $600 million by the end of year. Speaking at the maiden Ghana Mutual Prosperity Dialogues, which attracted 4 other ministers of importance to the private sector, as well as a large representation from the public and private sectors, the finance minister disclosed that President Akufo Addo, his cabinet, was to approve a growth strategy on Thursday, October 19 this year, that provided expanded opportunity for the private sector to increase investment to scale up economic activity. This probably would be one of the things that would bring us out of the economic doldrums we find ourselves in. Wouldn't you say, Dr. Ayamga? And let me just add that on the private sector, the Minister of Trade and Industry, Katie Hammond, pledged the total commitment to the formulation of the right policies and the right incentives going forward. A step in the right direction, wouldn't you say?
Ben, I would say it's teaching the right direction, not a step. This, I'm hearing reggae music and dance now over here. You are talking about the private sector being the engine of growth. And if you look at the current environment and everything that a government is doing, it is all but discouraging private sector investment. And I just mentioned the cost of production. I mentioned the huge items under our tax bracket that deliberately raising revenue. Of course, I understand, but it's also stifling private sector growth. So I would rather say that this is a speech we are up for getting to the IMF and looking for another tranche. And we have noticed that when you see the rise where the buzzwords, private sector being the engine of growth, economic confidence is coming back, some inflation is tapering. The IMF say you are going in the right direction and they release the tranche. I can tell you what is happening in the country now. It's not the economy improving. It is just foreign exchange coming in, getting into the market and preventing the cedi from hitting 15, 16 cedis. That is all we are seeing. And this speech is devoid of concrete steps to bring back investor confidence in the economy. I do not see any way forward in terms of reducing taxes because it is between a rock and a hard place. If the government significantly reduces tax, it is going to worsen our tax to expenditure positions. So again, we will not be able to meet the milestone for the IMF. And if you don't do that, and if you don't encourage the investors to put in more resources, we are not going to grow locally. So I can understand the finance minister. Anybody would throw his hands up in the air. But we played ourselves into this corner when we should have actually chosen a growth path out of this situation. We chose a taxation path, and that has dampened both investor and consumer confidence. And I don't see us coming out anytime soon. I do not see the minister taking off taxes by 20-30%. And that is what is required to stimulate growth, especially in the real sector. So if the minister cannot reduce taxes significantly, I cannot see how the private sector is going to become the engine of our new strategy. I think it is waking up and trying to close the stable when the horses are all bolted, and that is what the minister is doing now.
Well, beyond that, we get into these other stories. Page 16, some interesting news there. When the Kwame Nkrumah Park was reopened in recent times, the Memorial Park, some of us were excited. We took our cameras there. Well, guess what? The Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park now generates 1.1 million Ghana cedis a month following its rehabilitation. Prior to the rehabilitation, the park was generating 3,000 Ghana cedis on the average a month, on the average. That's what it was giving us. Apart from the increase in revenue, the workforce at the park has since increased by 50 workers. The Minister of Tourism and Creative Arts, Dr. Ibrahim Awal, said this at the inaugural Ghana Mutual Prosperity Dialogues in Accra yesterday. He said that between December 1 and 15 this year, the country would expect about 115,000 people from the United States alone, and that we needed to build 120,000 rooms over the next 15 years by hotels, he said, and urged the private sector to take advantage of that. Then there is also, there's a something on page 16 that I will not even bother to read. Let me leave it at that. There's stop attacks on journalists. GJA says so, pages 10 and 39 of the paper. I'll just take that and let you come in, Dr. Ayamga, so we proceed. Now, the Ghana Journalists Association has called on stakeholders to demonstrate sincere and determined efforts to end crime against journalists. We are extremely worried, quoting him, that a country once acclaimed internationally as a bastion of democracy and media freedom in Africa is fast sliding down the slope with impunity for crimes against journalists and other media practitioners, it added. This was contained in a statement issued in Accra yesterday to commemorate the International Day to End Impunity for Crimes Against Journalists. And he said, on the lack of sincerity, the statement, which was signed by the president of the association, Albert Kwabena Jumfor, said key actors, particularly the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary, lacked sincere and determined efforts at ending the state of impunity for crimes against journalists. Hence, was, quote, fast pushing the country's democracy and development to disastrous ebbs. I fully support this. Executive, legislature, judiciary. You turn a blind eye, but I guess when it comes to that point where you realize that it is the media that will hold everything together, then you will realize what the problem is. You see people attacking journalists, doing all these things, UTV, City, Joy, all these things. And I mean, I know people who are still scarred from the trauma they experienced at the hands of some people. And yet we pretend. And these people flout the law with impunity because they know they'll get away with it. Dr. Ayamga.
Yes, Ben, I think all of us in the media space get extremely worried that these things are increasing, and more so under the presidency of Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, the man who cut his teeth on protesting and also fighting for civil liberties. So I'm particularly surprised that it has now become the institution and the vehicle that intimidate journalists and to the point of physically harassing them. And you cannot take this further away from the executive, that the posturing encourages it, that people who attack journalists, media houses and others get appointed and given lucrative contracts and others. So it is in a way encouraging it and telling them that if it is fair to attack journalists, to attack people in studios trying to express their freedom of speech, which is guaranteed by our constitution. And if the media is afraid to bring back to bring out the stories, to interrogate the issues, and to hold every duty bearer accountable. We are all but just making sure that our democracy is getting destroyed. We are already worried about the extent to which institutions are being polarized. And I think that the only pillar still standing is the media, which is, as I said, is the fourth estate of government. And we are now witnessing unprecedented attack on the media. Apart from making their work difficult, the physical attack of journalists and media outlets is something that has not been heard in this country. Yes, you used to have it here and there, but to more or less see the executive and the government, let me put it, say, turn a blind eye to these atrocities and to this threat to our democracy is worrying. I am particularly scared that sometimes you get to radio stations now and they are reinforcing their entry places with barricades and metal bars and all those things. And I'm like, if the journalists are afraid for their lives, then it means that the truth will never see the light of the day. And I think that the government, and particularly the president, ought to genuinely, not just as a PR gimmick or a public relations outreach, but genuinely show his concern about the deteriorating environment as far as journalists are concerned, and take action against people who attack journalists, who attack radio and TV stations, and who make it impossible for journalists to work. It is the only way to bring this issue and this menace under check. Without concrete actions, we are going to have this thing continuing. If people go and attack journalists and the next day they are in the entourage of the president traveling outside the country, they are at the Jubilee House directing affairs, they are seen on party platforms, the party does nothing, government does nothing. There is no way you can tackle these issues. People must be punished. People must see that government is willing to take them out, to kind of cut them out from public activity if they infringe and attack journalists. And until we see that, the talk is going to continue and this situation is going to deteriorate. I don't know how we got here, but I can only say it's because people have benefited and have been rewarded sort of for attacking journalists. That is why this thing is persisting.
On the international front, we have about 8 to 9 minutes maximum to conclude. Tinubu seeks Senate approval to borrow $8 billion. Recently, I heard some bit about a presidential yacht. And if you look at the sum of money, I've forgotten but it was equivalent to something that they were putting in some other sector. And people were asking, presidential yacht, and it's the equivalent of the money we're using for another key sector. We couldn't have used that money. African leaders, I should say African misleaders. I don't get people. Sometimes you see our misleaders in all their suits and everything going to beg. They are not even ashamed. Going out there dressed up, in flashy vehicles when the very people they are going to beg from are using very, modest vehicles, so to speak. Look at the Japanese and all of that. And they are using things they've made anyway. What have we made? Anyway, but Nigerian President Bola Tinubu yesterday asked the Senate to approve nearly $8 billion in new debt as part of a 2022 to 2024 external borrowing plan to finance infrastructure, health, education, and security. Nigeria, Africa's biggest economy and top oil producer, has been relying increasingly on debt due to lower tax collections and lower oil exports, its biggest foreign currency earner. We say infrastructure, health, education, and security. Well, we hope that money goes into those things for development. But that's it for the Daily Graphic newspaper. Let's quickly get into the Ghanaian Times now. Who wins the showdown tomorrow as NPP elects flag bearer for 2024 general election? Is it going to be Kennedy Ohene Japong, Asin Central Member of Parliament, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, Vice President, Dr. Wusu Efriya Koto, former Agric Minister, Mr. Francis Adainimo, we know him in the party and what he's done. He's also ready for the showdown. And we also have no Ghanaian caught up in Israel-Hamas war, Deputy Foreign Minister tells Parliament. We did hear that I think 2 Tanzanians had been kidnapped. So that is there. And then let's join hands to transform economy. That's the finance minister. And finally, LEAP program loses 15.8 million Ghana cedis. LEAP program loses 15.8 million Ghana cedis over wrongful payments, overspending between 2017 and 2022. That's according to the Auditor General's report. I'll go to page 12 and do those stories very quickly. So let's get there, page 12. Where are you? Where are you? There you are. So payment to unqualified persons, including the deceased, and overspending under the Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty program cost the country about 15.8 million Ghana cedis between 2017 and 2022. This was contained in an audit report on the management of LEAP released by the Auditor General's Department and copied to Parliament. Out of the figure, 396,620 Ghana cedis was paid to 170 beneficiaries under the scheme whose socio-economic status had improved and no longer qualified for the grants. There were many other infractions. Even when we try to do good, it turns bad. I don't get it. But your take on this, and what are your expectations of the NPP's presidential primary tomorrow?
Yes, and this is going to be an interesting one, but if you are gauging the environment, you will say the vice president who is the candidate here is in the lead and likely to clinch it. To me, I say it's the establishment candidate versus an NPP member, and it's a case of a two-horse race and a lesser of two evils rather than one that projects confidence in the Ghanaian economy. The vice president is going to represent continuity for the party going forward. And I want to ask anybody if there's anything Ghanaians want now, it's going to be anything but continuity. Nobody wants what is going on here. And so the vice president, yes, is going to get it because he's the establishment guy. And as I said, he's largely seen as the getaway vehicle for people who have committed atrocities and corruption under this government. Sorry, I strongly believe that we need to pursue and recover resources that have been looted. There is no way to justify that this country has borrowed $50 billion. It is under the beds of people in their septic tanks and water tanks, and we have to pursue that. And the vice president, I don't think is going to do that. On the other hand, Kennedy Agyekum is not largely an anti-establishment candidate, because you see Kennedy Agyekum, a very articulate and forceful person fighting for his rights. But that has only been it. You only see Kennedy Agyekum on fire when his interest is threatened. I have never seen this being projected into the broader public interest. He's been in Parliament voting the way every NPP member has voted, toeing in line, all those things. The only thing is that he hasn't got an established pillar in the party where you think that, okay, they can control him. And if he wins this thing, the likelihood of him allowing some people to answer for their evil deeds and their corruption is high. So I can understand why many in the party don't want him. Yes, which I think is a good thing. For me, sitting here, anybody that will disrupt the current harmony in the political arena that is working against Ghanaians and reaching a few people I would like. So if I have my way, yes, it's the Ghanaian version of Donald Trump, but hey, he would represent some disruption in the system and we can get our acts right. But as I said, Kennedy Agyekum is just like the offspring of a snake MPP. And snakes are born with their venom. He's going to be a typical NPP guy at the end of the day following their policies. He has not criticized what is going on, except when he has not been given a contract or when somebody has infringed on his right. And that is where I am worried that the image he's carving for himself now has only been for him. Yes, if there's a change and Kennedy is going to use this to stand for Ghana, I think that between the two, he's the lesser of the evils. But as far as I'm concerned, from where I sit, I don't see a solution to the country's problem in any of the two. Maybe the other two at the lower end of the pool, maybe the agric minister and Adainimo, they may represent some bit of change going in terms of development, in terms of policy, but they don't stand a chance. So tomorrow we are going to see the vice president emerge, and he is going to more or less reinforce the division and bigotry in our politics. He is going to introduce the religion dimension in our politics. I have been saying it, and I don't hide it. I'm not afraid to talk about it. I think that we are going to talk about in the near future, addressing the issue of whether Ghana is ready for a Muslim president. Yes, for a vice president, we are okay. That has been the issue. But there are some people who are not as open-minded as some of us. And there are people even in the strongholds of the NPP that cannot go to bed with a Muslim being president. They can't bring themselves to vote. So that is free advice for the NPP going forward. They are going to have to play defense in their own strongholds.
Right.
And the president is not a formidable candidate as we think. I believe that if you ask any NDC guy, they will tell you the candidate who can pull out a surprise is a Kennedy Agyekum, because yes, those who want to see something that resembles a military regime in this country see it in a Honorable Kennedy Agyekum.
Right.
Yes, I don't want it, but that is it. So tomorrow, I hope that we don't see some repeat of what happened in the Super Delegates Conference, the Congress. They vote peacefully and not beat up some of my good friends. But I wish them well. But either way, it was already difficult for them to win. Even if the economy and everything was okay, a government going beyond 8 years has never happened, and it's a very difficult call. Now, to have the candidates we are projecting is only probably increasing some confidence in some quarters here. I want to see Kennedy Agyekum win. Yeah.
Dr. Ayamga, we have to go. In 1 minute, I just want your reactions to these stories. Those that are new, of course, the finder says, I am confident of victory tomorrow, Dr. Baumia. And then there is service personnel to fill human resource gaps in sports sector. But the two I'd probably like to leave us with. Daily Guide, 45 journalists assaulted in 5 years. 45 journalists assaulted in Ghana in 5 years. And then we wonder why, you know, on the indexes, various indices, I should say, we keep slumping. We keep slumping. And then we wonder why. And then you would have people who walk the corridors of power try to come and defend it. People who should know better. Alan grabs 150,000 volunteers. So what's happening? The zeal for Alan Chebating's transformative vision has reached new heights, with over 150,000 dedicated volunteers in the Ashanti region pledging their unwavering support for him at an orientation meeting held at the KNUST CCB auditorium in Kumasi yesterday. Final words, Doc. We're going.
Yes, as I said, I wish the MPP well tomorrow. But I honestly think that the Alan Chimantin story is very typical of parties that are about to lose power. That anytime you see your own house being divided and you are doing nothing to correct it, it's problematic. He's a fine gentleman, and I have been an admirer of Alan. It is only unfortunate that his legacy has been tarnished by his time in government and his inability to bring his wide experience to bear. So I'm kind of sad that he found himself in the wilderness trying to project some progress there. I do wish him well. But as I've indicated, I would like to make a take especially on our national service filling the void in sports. Right. As a and somebody who is into football, I think that is one area that we are not doing things right, and we are not harnessing the right synergies for development. I hope we strategize well and just don't use this thing as another way of siphoning resources. That has always been our problem. Anytime we create opportunities for youth employment, people go around, enroll people, and actually take the money and don't pay them. It has been so with so many of the...
I think we'd have a plethora of examples, but We'd have to cap it off here, Dr. Ayamga. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. Dr. Michael Ayamga is a development economist and senior lecturer at the University for Development Studies at Tamale. He joined us for this conversation. Stay with us. Later on the show, I'm going to be sharing my blunt thoughts on healthcare up in the air, Ganaman Wahala. Healthcare up in the air, Ganaman Wahala. Before we get into sports, Prime Take with Muftau Nabila Abdullahi, Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic is always helping us bring you this segment. They're offering free prostate screening, free female fertility screening. Make tracks to any of their branches here in, well, there's Accra, Spintex opposite the Shell signboard, Kumasi Kronumabwe here, behind the Angel Educational Complex. There's Takra de Anaji State, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa and Siaman Zama. Their call lines 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. On that note, we settle for Prime Take with Muftau Nabila Abdullahi.
Nice one.
I told you. Give another one.
Again?
Hey, don't do it hard. You want to give me? How are you, Carl?
I'm fine.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, long time.
How's everything?
By the grace, everything is fine.
I can see some massive changes in this gym.
Yeah, I mean, when you put in good effort, you get this kind of rewards.
Wow, I see that. So, who got this done for you? Through the investment you've done in boxing, you decided that you're going to build this special edifice?
I mean, yeah, I have to be open and honest to thank whoever have helped the Bronze Gym to get to this level in the name of Mr. Easy.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know him from anywhere. Yeah. I don't have any contact with him. I just got the information that they want to support the Bronze Gym to do refurbishment for us, and it was a surprise or a dream, and yes, it has happened. So I give thanks to them.
I was here some 7 years ago, and I realized that there were some wooden structures and all that, but all of a sudden it's a perfect edifice.
Yeah. I mean, the gym is now one of the top gyms in Ghana.
Okay.
In terms of the facility, not that enough, but yeah, we are proud to have this kind of facility.
Yeah, in fact, this place alone is enough to motivate you to want to give up your all.
Yeah. You know, when we were not having this level, we were not at this level, we were still pushing.
Yeah.
I am always trying to push and make sure I do something out of the small that I have, because I believe in that, and definitely we'll get to where you want to be.
Carl, tell me, where were you born? What is your genesis like? What is your childhood story?
Do I have even something serious to talk about my childhood? Yeah, I mean, Korle-Bu was born in Jamestown.
Oh, yeah, Jamestown.
Yeah.
No wonder you're from the factory for production of boxes.
I was born in Jamestown to the Raymond Lokko. That's the parents, Raymond Lokko and Elizabeth Latte. Okay. Since I was born, I've been close to my family. Like my mom and my dad was living together. I was not someone that, yes, I was born in Jamestown, so it's like my father is somewhere, my mother is somewhere. Yeah. So Jamestown that I be, you understand it? Yeah, so I have the privilege to have the mother and the father kind of guidance and support. So yeah, I came out good. I believe I always thank them. The way they brought me up, what they can do is what they did, and I also have to continue from there.
How would you describe the childhood? Was it a difficult beginning for you, or life was so easy because you grew up with your parents and maybe they had some good money to take care of you? Was there money at home?
No, I will not say that, but they were doing their best, and from what they have been doing, I also have to follow and learn or some help. Okay. You understand? When I was coming up, I got to the stage that I have to go through whatever parents that are somehow struggling a little bit to take care of their family have to go through. Today will be the first time that I'll make this open that I've sold ice water before. I have sold polythene bag, like book float, like I have done a lot. You understand? Just to support the house. Not that I have been left out, that I'm doing that to survive. No. My parents or my mother especially will put that book float on my head, and I have to go to the market and come back and account for whatever I was sent to. So, yeah. The same to the ice water. Like I've done a lot under no pressure, but through the parents, and at least that also have helped me or have pushed me to a certain level.
Why were you selling the pure water, the bull float, and which market?
At the beach side.
Oh, the beach side?
Yeah, at the beach side.
I see.
Yeah, when it comes to the polythene bag was the Slaga market.
Oh, okay.
You understand?
Okay.
Yeah, and even my grandmother used to this abolo, I don't know how to call it, the one from the oven, not the one we cook. So I have to carry that and follow my grandmother to go around and sell it at his joints or the houses that she have been going there to sell.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I have passed through all this. So I think I have got to see how people make a living, especially from the childhood. That is why I'm saying that I'm very happy to have those parents, because I was not under any pressure to do that. But I am somebody that from my childhood I'm ready to listen and to learn and to do whatever you ask me to do. And that has brought me to where I am today.
Were your friends making fun of you for selling bull fruit and polythene bags and sachet water? Did they make fun of you?
I mean, definitely, you know, sometimes that kind of things you face it.
Yeah.
But when you know where you are coming from, you will not even mind them, but you keep on doing it. And sometimes the same person they'll be running to for me to support them.
Okay.
You understand me? Because they don't know that the more I've been going out there doing this kind of selling and whatever, all the time, my pocket also will be nice.
Yeah.
So when they come, at least I can buy something that we all eat together.
And you were hiding from your girlfriends, right?
I'm not talking about the time that I don't even know about talking about woman or something like that. No,
I'm just saying that maybe childhood, you see that small girl in your area, you are shy of. So when you are carrying the bull float, you want to dodge.
since you got to know me, you can say clear, or you know clear that I'm not a shy person.
Yeah.
You understand?
So it's not that since childhood?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
You understand me? So I'm ready to do anything that you as a grown-up or somebody who is above me will tell me, do this. Straight away, I believe in what you are telling me to do, and I have to do it with every passion or everything that I have.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how were you ushered into boxing, and why boxing and not any other thing?
Yeah, like I said, because I was living with them, all the time I'm busy. If I said I'm busy, mom will give you some work to do.
Yeah.
And that also will give you some work to do.
Okay.
So when you finish here, you have to go here.
Okay.
When you finish there, you have to do this. So I don't have time at all to even go and mingle with my childhood friends. Even when they are going to buy football, we normally contribute that time. Everybody has to bring something.
Yes.
I'll bring the chunk of the money, but I will not be there.
To play the ball?
To play the ball.
Wow.
You understand? So I have been seeing this kind of disciplines like the ball and the boxing. That is the cheaper or the simple thing that to see when you are from Jamestown.
So did you play some basic football?
Yeah, I mean, I did not that much, but at school, I was the goalkeeper at school, right? And I did a little bit about Munchendi as a goalkeeper as well.
Okay.
You understand? So in sports, in football, that is a bit that I did over there.
Okay.
So it got to a time then my interest started going into boxing. Although I was not having time to go to even the gyms, but once in a while when I pass through any gym, the way I see people doing the boxing, sometimes you see them on the streets, doing boxing on the street and stuff. It also push the mind.
Okay.
But at that time, I was not in control of myself, so nothing I can do. But it got to a time that I said, no, I have to venture into boxing. Straight away, my mind is to learn how to train boxers when I was very young.
You didn't do the
No.
I've never only wanted to coach.
Yes, I have never gone to a gym to learn standing, even how to learn how to stand to be a boxer. But I went straight to the gym, and my focus and my intention is to become a trainer.
One of the things that we often hear is that, because I have passion for boxing, I'll try boxing small. But you went straight into wanting to be a trainer. How did that happen?
Yeah, because I wish I joined boxing maybe at the age of 8, 9, 10. You understand?
Why?
No, because I got a love for it. But like I said, because I am with the parents, right?
Yeah.
That their eye on me,
yeah.
I was not having chance to go on my own way, to go and whatever, like spend any time with my peers and whatever. And I am somebody who I take instruction and take orders.
Okay.
So when they say sit here,
you sit there.
Sit there. And they say when you close from school, make sure you get home by this time. I make sure I'm home. You understand? So that fears and that respect was there. So I couldn't even get out to go and do.
How many siblings do you have? Or you are an only child?
I know. How can I? God will not do that.
So how many were you?
Yeah, we were 5.
5 of you?
Yeah, we were 5. Yeah.
Are you the first?
Yeah, I'm the first.
No wonder.
Yeah, so you understand now, because the kind of nurturing I was getting, that is the way I got to know, and I was growing up with that. You understand? So I have not been radical or rough boy during my childhood, like being stubborn.
Yeah.
You understand? So it's like, that's why I said I was born in Jamestown, but Jamestown that I be.
Yeah,
that is the meaning of.
But do you have the DNA of Jamestown?
No.
Because people will tell you the DNA of Jamestown is
no.
street fighting and all that.
I have it. I have it.
Were you a street fighter?
No. It's not only being a street fighter alone make you a Jamestown boy.
Okay.
And there is no way I'll stand anywhere to say that I don't have it in me, because that is where I was born. There are certain things, it depends on where you pass through before you grow.
Yeah.
So there are certain things you will not just do.
Okay.
You will not just venture into that.
Okay.
You understand me? But hey, when it comes to anything at all to do, yeah, man.
Come on.
You know, you understand? Yeah. So I'm always a Jamestown guy, and I'm proud to be, and I'm part of them.
So, did you stop school before going into the boxing training, or how did it happen?
No, I did not stop school before that. Actually, after my GSS, I went to Emmett Electronics, and you can see the name of the school I'm mentioning. If you are not tough, you know it will be difficult for you to mingle with them, right? Yeah, so when it got to the time that I showed the interest, I have to do it after school. I have to go to the gym after school. And lucky for me, if this is my house, this is a boxing gym.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay.
In the name of the Black Panthers gym at the High Street just here.
Oh yeah, I know that.
Yes, and you can see an old building that have been pulled down, or that got.
Yeah, that's been destroyed.
Yes, that is where I was born, and just across, even not street, just close to it, that's the gym. So it's so easy for me to go from the house to the gym and give myself out to the head trainer over there. May he still rest in peace. He's gone now. To let him know clear that this is what I want to do.
So you didn't go to secondary school?
That's what I'm telling you. That
I
went
from JSS.
From JSS to Emmett Electronics.
So, was it a secondary school?
Yes.
Okay.
Because
you say electronics, I'm a bit confused.
You don't know Emmett Electronics?
Are you an electrician?
You don't know Emmett Electronics?
No, I'm hearing the school for the first time.
You are hearing the name of Emmett Electronics for the first time?
Yes.
Wow. Let's move on. Let's move on.
So, what did you study in the school? What did you study in that school?
I studied electronics in terms of, television.
So you do electrical stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. So if my TV spoil, if you repair?
No.
You formatted all of
them? I left those things a long time. So,
you formatted all of those things?
Yeah. I delete all.
Oh, why would you format it?
And I put boxing in. If I've been repairing those things, will you be standing here today with me?
Probably probably you will be the best electronic
engineer
in the country.
Have you interviewed any electronics specialist or?
Because they're not in my area of
interest. You have not, so please try. Please try.
Let's get back to the training bit. Why you chose to train and not box?
Yeah, like I said, somebody whispered in my ears when I was young that when you want to venture into boxing or even football, it will be good for you to start early.
Okay.
You understand? So it got to a time that when I even made my mind even to go to this coaching aspect, my father and my mom they were not even aware. But when they start being aware, I can see clear that they were not happy. They were not happy, you understand? Because none of them pushed me into it. I had my own stuff, and nobody told me if you become a coach it will be good, or if you become a boxer you'll be great. No. I derived that thing from...
You just did it on your own?
Yeah, on my own, you understand? So at that moment, that is what came to my mind, that learn how to do that. Because still on my young age, I tried to organize young ones to do a football team. That we call it Munchedi, to get them some food, some soakings and some kind of rice. So I have a team. I've been doing a team, like area team and stuff. So more or less, it's like I was somebody who was always trying to gather people, like making sure, giving them life or making something out of whatever they can do. You understand? And so it became like, more or less, I started becoming a leader.
Okay.
You understand me?
Like a youth leader?
Youth leader. Yeah. Because if I can organize those people and put them in jerseys and put them on a pitch for them to play their football, and after that I have to give them something in terms of money or in terms of food and whatever, then more or less like somebody who gather people. So that pushed the mind that same way, if I want to venture into boxing, I'll be happy to gather them, to give them that kind of training. So why don't I also go in and learn how to train boxers? So this is...
How long did you do the football thing? Or it was just brief?
It was not brief. I did it long. Finally, I ended up even doing under 12 football team.
Oh, really?
With my uncle. The team name is Sabres Academy. Sabres Academy was at Zabuzongwa, Agyekum. We play alongside missionaries.
Which year was this?
Yeah.
Which year was it? Because I remember I was in Agyekum, Zabuzongo. That's why I grew up. I spent the time. I attended Letterbill courses around Radio Gold. That's why I went to school.
Yeah.
So if I know the year, probably I might have played against your team before.
Yeah. So that should be somewhere 98, 99.
I was not there. That I was in the village. But I hadn't even started school.
Yeah, so we were doing the football aspect and stuff. Even then time, somebody like Samuel Animado was also following coast football.
Okay.
And we used to mingle, we used to meet. We meet even at Complex, as one Complex.
Okay.
Yes, that is where we do our meetings for the youth teams. Okay. You understand it? So that should tell you how I have pushed.
Yeah.
And then nobody, like I said, I have not even made this thing clear anywhere before in terms of interview. But I'm telling you that I ventured into football and I have done what I have to do there.
So why did you leave the football and went into boxing? Because people actually feel that football is much more lucrative.
Yeah, the time I was doing it, I was not doing it as a football coach, right?
Yeah.
More or less, I was a manager to the team, managing my uncle's team that we formed together.
Okay.
We set a team up together.
Okay.
My uncle was a former footballer, but he went to base in Nigeria for a long time.
Okay.
When he came back, he wanted to still play football, but his age was far gone.
So you had to do it with the kids.
You understand it? So even my father took him to Gapoa at that time, even took him to Accra Suffolk, but because he is good, but the age was not in favor of him. So they just
had to let go.
Yeah, so he initiated that, okay then, this is what I want to do. I said, okay then let's do it because I have the passion for it. And that is how.
And then you dropped football and you went to boxing. So how would you describe the boxing journey?
The boxing journey, I've not been that smooth from the beginning. But I never stood back. I never stopped whatever I was doing. And I think I will always say thank you to boxing.
Boxing has taken you so far, right?
Yeah. I mean, boxing have done a lot. Boxing have done a lot for me. Sometimes it is not the cash aspect, you understand? But if no boxing, I don't know, I will be here standing with you, like I said. Through boxing, I have done a whole lot. Like I have gone through a whole lot. The group, just because of the boxing aspect. So I believe that whatever you are doing, if you do it and do it well, definitely you'll be part of the names that will be mentioning or the names that people will remember. And I started following boxing or to become a boxer, a trainer, when I was in the year 1996.
Wow.
That I ventured into it. And I've been in it from that time.
That's 27 years now.
So now that I have not even taken my eye off from boxing for even a week.
27 years?
Yes. You understand? So it's not today.
Wow. Who were your early boxers? Which boxers did you start with? Did you start training with?
A lot of them that maybe others, those who are watching will, will remember if they follow boxing. But started because I was under training. So the boxer that I was part, we were training them. We have Osman Yaya.
Okay.
We have Makdoku.
Okay.
We have a lot of them. We have Sarkodie, Joseph Sarkodie. We have Atajata in the name of we have Congo Soldier, Usman Akaba, a lot. Then time, most of them now have even stopped the game.
I see.
Yeah.
Wow, you've got quite an interesting story there. Because trust me, I never actually knew that you've been in the sport for 27 years.
Yeah, not today.
Wow,
not today at all.
That's something massive. But talk to me. Within this journey, you've spoken about the boxers you started with, but you've also spoken about how far boxing has taken you. But which of the boxers have you worked with that you felt that, no, working with these boxers or this boxer actually gave me, let's say, a lifetime opportunity?
Yes, this is good. Very, very good question you're asking me. And sometimes we have to be open and honest sometimes when it comes to this. The boxer that I would say that through him, I became known or I got attention was Buko Banku, Brema Kamuku.
Really?
When I was training Brema Kamuku, and he got the followers and he got his own thing.
Okay.
So if you are following Brema Kamuku and I'm the trainer, definitely you start knowing me through his antics or whatever you have been doing. And I know that aspect or that time I was training him got me there very, very fast.
Wow.
Yes.
But I also know that you've worked with the likes of Richard Comey, whom you took to the the US, Ohio, for a world title fight against Robert Easter Jr. I remember that. And that was around the time, somewhere 2016, that I came here for us to have a conversation and all that. Talk to us about that journey of building up a boxer that had an opportunity to go and fight for a world title.
Yeah, it's another story altogether. I believe all the time I have to do something in boxing that most of people have not done. So I put it on myself that I will be happy to nurture a boxer from amateur level to the world level and win a world title. That was the dream.
You discovered Comey when he was still an amateur boxer? Or he was already out in the limelight?
To talk about that, it's part of the gym and part of me. So you just put things aside and say it the way it is. Comey was one of the footballers we were having as savers.
Oh, okay.
So I know him when he was about 13 years.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I know him when he was about 13 years. When they have been coming to me, like I said, giving them money to buy some food, going to training and making effort, camping them for a football match. So that's also, I know him for a long time. So after the Savers, he went up there he graduated from the under 12.
Okay.
So he went to under 14 and whatever, which he couldn't continue over there, and he ventured into kickboxing. You understand?
Yeah.
Yes. So that was the level he was. He was not a boxer. That even everybody knew over here in Ghana. No, he was a kickboxer who have traveled to UAE to do his kickboxing stuff.
Okay.
So he came back, and it happens that he wants to be part of the boxing.
Okay.
So he want me to take him on. So that is where I took him on. Then I start training him as a boxer.
Okay.
Taking him to amateur boxing a bit before we venture into professional boxing.
I remember you also won some titles with him.
Yeah, a lot. So that was what I'm telling you, that became one of my targets. That what can you do for people to remember you or to know the work you have done? Normally, most of the boxers who become champions have not been trained by one person.
Okay.
You start from somewhere, somebody will come in, somebody will take over.
Okay.
You understand? Even abroad, especially in the US, a lot of the boxers, most of them, sometimes it's not who discover them.
They change coaches.
You understand me? To become a world champion or to come at the top. So if I'm saying to myself that I'll be happy to see myself nurturing a boxer from amateur level, professional level, to win a national title and to win African title and win another African title and go in for a Commonwealth title and go in for intercontinental IBF title and get a chance to get to the top, have a world title shot. And that was my target. So I was so happy, and I was working very, very hard behind the boy and making sure that I have to achieve whatever I have in plan. And I got the opportunity to, and I got to the world level, and we fought, and the fight was very, very interesting.
It was a very tough fight.
But hey, you go into somebody's backyard and you think you have it so easy. No. So at least the target I put on me got me to the world level to say that I have tasted the world championship ring or share a ring with other champion trainers or good trainers over there. And at least, although we will not win, but it's part of it.
So how would you describe that fight against Robert Easter Jr.?
I mean, that fight, they took advantage of the fight because it was his promoter and his management that won the purse bid. So if they won the purse bid against our promoters, then that means we have to go there and fight. The fight should not be a lose for us at all. The fight should not be a lose for us at all.
You felt you shouldn't have lost that fight?
No. I mean, we shouldn't have lost that fight. But that is the verdict that the judges brought up.
So how disappointing was it that at the end it didn't happen? Because I personally was disappointed because I stayed awake at night to watch that fight, but still it never worked out.
Yeah, I mean, I was so much disappointed, and honestly, on that day, I cried. You understand? Because when I look at the effort and the target, and I just want to see that happen. And that did not happen. I mean, it was a blow to me. When you go back and check maybe the clip of the fight, after fight interview, when you see my eyes, you can see clear that this guy have gone through something. You understand?
Especially the round 12, the punch which is received in that round 12 was I don't know. That's why maybe people often blame him for poor defense and all that. So that blame too should come to you because you brought him to have a very poor defense.
No. In boxing, definitely you cannot win a boxing fight without you getting a punch. So does it mean Mayweather don't have good defense? Answer. Let's go.
No.
Does it mean Mayweather don't have good defense?
But Mayweather has won all his fights in his career.
But he has been receiving punches. So does it mean he doesn't have good defense? So I'm telling you that no. We're not talking about the loss aspect.
Yes.
You are trying to put a blame on me, and I'm trying to justify it that if a boxer got a punch and the boxer did not stop from there but still continue, and you are putting the blame on the coach.
But then you should have built him to have a very good defense. So when he can do that.
So if he was not having a good defense, can he start from the 1 to the 12? So you have to understand. when you are doing your work like this and something that you have been taught already, and you neglect that, and there was a mistake, will you go back and blame your lecturer? When you know they have taught you already that don't drop your hands, or when you are writing, don't look other side. Focus on what you are doing. You are looking this and you have done mistake. Who did it?
Okay.
So you have to understand. So
you're not accepting responsibility for that point. So I understand.
No. When I say you are running away, you don't want to accept.
But in all honesty, since you groomed him from his amateur level, it was the onus was on you to build him to have a very solid defense.
Brother, I asked you a question you don't want to answer. Does it mean Mayweather don't have defense?
His very good defense is the reason why he's one of the best boxers.
Does he receive punch? Does he receive punch?
He does.
So what happened? You understand? So you know certain things, you cannot push Carl to that wall. So for me to let you know, that punch that he received before the fight, when we were training, you remember we did all the training here.
Yeah.
In Ghana.
Yes.
We went
because I came here many times for that.
Yeah, we went to the States like 5 days or something before the fight, which was not that good, but that was that time. That is what we can get. That is all that we can get. So during the preparation, I told him about that punch. I told him about that punch because I know sometimes he did not start boxing from there. So sometimes, personally,
with experience,
you understand it.
These things, yeah.
So definitely anything can happen. So we did a workout on that at the beach, the beach side, in the sun. In terms of me pushing him, he also pushing me. In terms of bending the legs and moving front, like this and that. And that will tell you that when that punch came to him, he was almost there.
Yeah.
But he got up.
I remember because he didn't touch the canvas, but he went down.
Yes, but he got back.
Yeah.
You understand me?
Yeah.
So how did that happen?
Did you try for a rematch? Because there were reports. I remember Neil Antevanapoi was the minister then, and he had mentioned that people were going to go for a rematch and all that.
My brother, that fight is gone. So let's move on.
Yeah, we are moving on, but we are talking about your story. Yeah. Then there was the Stanley Shafikov. Then because I'm talking about how you've been able to build. I'll come to ask about at what point you set up this gym to become your own man and creating. Yeah. But I'm talking about this fight because it was probably one of like the highest points of your boxing. Because to go fight for a world title, I felt that no, at this point, Carl was up there.
So like I said, after the fight, we did all we have to do. That is why we got a chance again to go and fight Shafikov. Yes. You understand me? That after that fight, when you win, the winner will have a chance of fighting Robert Easter. So if we won, like we'll get a chance to fight Robert Easter again. Okay. But same way, we have to go to Russia. We do not get a chance of staging the fight either here or the promoters from Germany. That's Sutherland Promotions. So that is how.
Carl, just a quick one. You didn't get an opportunity to go and fight Robert Easter Jr. again, but then you came back. I remember when you came back, I was in this gym to have a conversation with you. I saw how distraught all of you were. But a few days later, the boxer you took to fight for the world title, you were separate ways. What happened?
Oh, it's a long story. It's a long story.
Cut it in 1 minute.
I will not even want to cut it or even start it. It's a long story, and that have passed. I'm still in the gym making champions. I'm proving that it was not by chance or by luck for me to take somebody to that level. And still I have taken other people to that level, or bringing other people up, and they are going, and they are even doing better. So.
Were you disappointed you went separate ways?
Oh yes, definitely. You can't put your effort in something and what you don't expect happen, and you say, oh, you don't mind. You understand me? Whatever I will say, and I've said it before, is I have not regretted training Kombi. That is one thing. But for disappointment, yes, I am.
Okay, let me get something clear. I want to understand, because for you to take him up to go fight him for a world title and all of a sudden you go separate way, is it that the team felt you were not good enough to manage me anymore?
It's like you're trying to still go there. I have told you that that is gone.
Because I want to understand it.
No, that is gone. So let's carry it.
Your viewer wants to understand.
I'm telling them that that is gone, right? I have done my best.
Yes.
And everybody know what I did and what happens.
Okay.
So I don't think I have to stand here and try to justify things. Whatever I have to say, I've said it all already.
But
You've
not said it to me.
And then see me in chambers, I'll tell you.
No, I'm not seeing you in chambers.
We are in the bronze gym now.
Millions of people.
We are in the bronze gym now,
yes.
and we have a lot of boxers here who I'll be happy to talk about. You understand?
I'll get
so don't even worry yourself much.
I'll get
that
there.
have gone and that have passed.
You'll be able to build boxers all your life for 27 years.
So if you are talking about one person for this all time, what about the others?
So I'm asking, why did you go separate ways? You said, oh, that part is gone.
Yeah.
Were you disappointed? You are willing to say yes, you were disappointed, but you're not willing to understand.
I've finalized it for you. If I've told you I was disappointed, so that's it.
So I said, is it that the management felt you were not up to the standard to manage me anymore, or something to train me anymore?
Nobody sat down with me in regards to that.
Okay. So that's why you were disappointed?
Nobody said anything to me. I just got information, this and that. So that's it.
Well, he doesn't want to talk about it. So come and see him.
So what answer again do you want me to give you?
No, come and see Carl in chambers. He doesn't want to answer the question. So Carl, at what point did you decide that I need to be my own man, set up my own gym, train my own boxers, and get to the top?
Yeah, I mean, it happens when I have not even think of having my own gym. What happens was, I've told you, I understudied, or I was apprentice to Emmanuel Tego.
Yeah. It was Emmanuel Tego, eh?
Yeah, then the name of the coach was Emmanuel Tego. That is Emmanuel Tego's uncle, Game Boy's uncle.
Okay.
We call it Akesi.
Okay.
He also have done great when it comes to Ghana boxing. He have done fantastic work. So my apprenticeship was under him. So I was with him. We are training the boxers and everything. But he was having some issue with Buko Banko.
Oh, okay.
You understand? So they were not in good terms. So I normally, in the morning, because I know I'm learning, in the morning I go to a different gym and I start training some of the boxers that will be training at the gym. I start because I want to see what I can do. So I start the fundamentals with them. So every morning I go to World Powers gym. And because that morning they are not training.
Yeah.
So I take every boxer that I have there because the passion was there too much for the game. So you see me early in the morning around 3 o'clock, 3:34, going out there calling boxers. Let's go to the beach. Let's go to running. Let's do this. So that is what I was doing. And one day Buko Banko came to me at that gym to tell me that, oh, I'll allow you to train me. I'll allow you to train me. So please, what can you? And I said, why? Because you have a gym. That's the Buko boxing gym.
Yeah.
And he said, oh, no, I don't want to train there again. I mean, they don't have time for me, blah, blah, blah. So I said, okay, I'll get back to you. Give me 2 weeks. Because I know I was not having that capacity to train a boxer because I was under Akesi. And but luckily that time I've been under Akesi for about 7 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Then you have done it for a long time?
Yeah. I've done 7 years with him. And I just told him, Clay, that Akesi, please, this is what Buko Banko told me, that he wants me to train him. And I think I have to ask you permission so that I can bring him to the gym. And he said, no, I should not. But the word he used to attach the no, I would not like to say it on camera. So that means he was not happy for me to bring him. And he told me that if I feel I want to train him, then I can go ahead and train him. You understand?
Yeah.
Yes. At that time, the training I was doing over there, because I know I will venture into a gym, I have the name of the bronze boxing already.
Why that name? Why bronze?
Okay, bronze was my nickname when I was young.
Yes. And what does it mean?
What
does it mean?
At that time, if I tell you the real meaning of the bronze, no. But later, it became clear to me that in this boxing that I'm doing, my first job will be in America, bronze. That is one thing I told myself too.
Okay.
And it happens.
Okay.
So my first traveling in my life was to the States and to the bronze.
It's the top of the hour. Welcome back on the AM show. It's a fitting time for me to share my blunt thoughts with you, and today I've titled it, Healthcare Up in the Air, Ghana Man Wahala. Healthcare up in the air, Ghana Man Wahala. You know something, Ghana 4? The more I contemplate, the more I think about Ghana, the more Ghana fails to make sense to me. And today I'm going to elaborate on a number of matters to do with our premier hospital in this country, the Korle-Bu Teaching Hospital. From roads to the renal department to equipment that is not functioning and what that means for our healthcare. And then you will understand that there are problems, deep-seated, deep-rooted problems in our country. And sometimes they make you wonder who is thinking in this country. But let me give you a bit of history. The Korle-Bu Teaching Hospital was established on the 9th of October 1923. The facility was built under the administration of Sir Frederick Gordon Gaggisberg. We all know him from the history books. Then the governor of the Gold Coast as a general hospital to attend to the health needs of the people. It has grown from an initial 200-bed capacity to 2,000. And as some reports say, it is the third largest hospital in Africa and the leading national referral center in Ghana. But why focus on Korle-Bu today? Well, for myriad reasons. Come with me and you'll understand why. For starters, I want you to watch this video and the slides that will follow. They will situate the first end of my conversation. Those Ghana 4 are the roads leading to the premier hospital in Ghana. From the Bukum Boxing Arena to the polyclinic is terrible. Just from the traffic light from the ICGC to STC can take you over 20 minutes. Imagine having a medical emergency and having to be driven on any of these stretches. You'd probably be dead before you get any medical attention. So how did we get here? The bad roads are not for Korle-Bu to fix. That is not within their scope of work. That's up to Kwesi Amoako-Attah, the roads minister, to deal with. And just for the sake of clarity, this is not something to talk of a big contract to do. 1 or 2 days of night work should fix this. There's already a contractor on that stretch constructing that extension. Why not let that be done in addition to it quickly? 1 or 2 nights of work, I'm told by experts, it's all that is needed. But while Korle-Bu's authorities are not expected to build roads, they are expected to do certain things, which brings me to the second aspect of my concerns about Korle-Bu today. So yes, you've seen the roads. But then we get into the Korle-Bu renal unit. Recently, we've been talking about dialysis treatment. The OPD was shut down for 5 months and 11 days because of a debt of 4 million Ghana cedis. Now, the authorities say the renal unit owed 4 million cedis, and it was only open to renal patients yesterday. Yesterday, the 2nd of November. Do you know what that means for these fellow Ghanaians who suffer kidney disease, among others? Do you know? It's like a death sentence. Only yesterday, for 5 months. Let's go to the next slide. But here is what 4 million Ghana cedis really means. It can buy 5 Land Cruiser V8 vehicles at a unit cost of 800,000 Ghana cedis. And how many of them do we see? How many of them, just sacrificing 5, could take care of this at Korle-Bu? It could construct only 6 kilometers of road from Weja toll booth to the Kaswa overhead. Yet, for some reason, we cannot raise this money and people are dying. Next slide. According to Gifty Labi, member, Renal Patients Association, this is what she says. We see death every day. Every day, our fellow Ghanaians see death because of irresponsible leadership. This is happening. Now, in terms of the next angle I want to look at in terms of this conversation, I've spoken about the roads, and I'm hoping Kwesi Amoako-Attah will do something about them, because you cannot have a road like that. No ambulance will take you speedily to the hospital. You may die. That's the reality. We've spoken about dialysis treatment, the renal department, and the woes, but I will shock you with what I'm about to show you next. Some crucial equipment at Korle-Bu has not functioned in a while, and guess what? Wahala no day. People could die on the back of those. I'll explain to you before I come back and elaborate. The MRI, magnetic resonance imaging machine at Korle-Bu, there's only one in Korle-Bu. It's a 1.5 Tesla, it has 1.5 Tesla magnetic strength. The cost is $1.5 million. It has worked for only 3 months this year and is currently not operating because of a power problem. $1.5 million worth because of a power problem. It's not operating. And later, when I give you a breakdown of what these equipment do, you will understand better. Next slide. Another piece of faulty equipment, the CT, computerized tomography scan machine. There's only one in Korle-Bu. It's a 640 slice machine, one of only 3 in Africa. One of only 3. It's good that we have it. The cost is $1 million. It has not functioned for over 2 years due to a faulty tube head. 2 years. Where can country be this? 2 years. Next slide. There's a CT scan machine. It's a public-private partnership. That's a 32-slice machine. The cost is $60,000. It developed a fault over a week ago, and it's still not operating. And let's go to the next one. We'll talk about the mammogram machine. It cost $100,000. It developed a fault over 3 months ago. It's still not functioning. And the general problems that we're seeing here attributing to all of this, a lack of maintenance, that is 1. And 2, there is no maintenance agreement on any of the machines. I ask, How can we live like this as a country? We say Agenda 111, but look at the state of the nation's premier hospital. Our misleaders act sometimes as though they had screws loose upstairs, but they don't. A lot of the time, these things happen because of the deals they cut. Who will get what building contract? Who will get the wiring contract? Who will get the medical supplies contract? Who will get the kickbacks? We talk nowadays about the great things the University of Ghana Medical Center is doing and the top-notch services they are offering. Fine. It is worthy of note, however, that even the UGMC refers cases to Korle-Bu. We have people coming from all over the West African sub-region to seek medical care. Call it health tourism at Korle-Bu. That should tell you just how important this facility is to not just our national life, but that of the sub-region. But I keep telling our misleaders, routine checkups you will go for abroad and you'll be fine. The private facilities may help you. But the day you face an emergency and you have to use our public healthcare systems, that is when you know what the ordinary man faces every day. Recently, I had to go to Ridge, the Greater Accra Regional Hospital. Someone was sick. You will not even get a bed. The struggle you will go through. Oh my word. But just to break down what this means for us, talking about lack of maintenance and then no maintenance agreements on the machines, I want to give you a breakdown of what these machines actually do. We also know that patients have to travel long distances to access these examinations, first of all. The adverse effect of these things not working. Patients have to pay more to access these examinations. There's the inconvenience associated with moving critically sick people to these places outside the hospital. Not to talk of the impairment of teaching and learning in a teaching hospital. Korle-Bu is a teaching hospital. But the uses of the machines I just mentioned, let me break them down for you. The MRI, it scans various parts of the body for diagnostic purposes. It helps evaluate in great detail the soft tissue structures of the body, like skin, your brain, your heart, abdominal organs, muscles, etc. It's essential for babies and pregnant women who cannot be exposed to radiation produced by the CT scan. They are too, fragile for that to happen. That's just that one. The CT scan. It scans various parts of the body using X-rays for diagnostic purposes. It helps evaluate in great detail, like I mentioned, the soft tissue of the body, emergency diagnosis, among others. Let's get to it. Also is used for critical cases like strokes and road traffic accidents. Now, the mammogram. It is used in the scanning of breast tissue in great detail. We've just come from Breast Cancer Month. It is essential for detecting early onsets of breast cancer. This is the state of our premier hospital, #1 in Ghana, and this is the state. 4 million, renal department. That's how many, four-wheel drives. How, sometimes I don't get it. How can we live like this as a country? Does this make any sense to you? I'm sure some people will be out there, and you're always criticizing. Does this make any sense to you? Does it? Does it? If it does, then maybe I should stop this. But if it doesn't, then we need to talk about it. Because, you know what? I'm not sick today. Who knows what could happen to me tomorrow? I'm not sick today, but maybe you could fall ill any moment from now. Sickness doesn't discriminate. I'm not sick, but maybe someone close to me falls sick. And they may have to go through that and die an unnecessary death. Poor road, lack of equipment, malfunctioning equipment, no maintenance, and people are dying. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. This is what I do. I expose the things that our misleaders don't want exposed, things that are problematic, so that you and I can have a better Ghana. These are my blunt thoughts shared with you, raw, hot, and edited, undiluted. As always, I pray, may God bless Ghana and make her great and strong. Welcome back on the AM show. It's that kind of morning where we brave the storm and do what must be done. Now, Ghana's blue economy holds immense promise for sustainable economic development and growth. The country's coastline and rich marine resources provide significant potential for sustainable fisheries and aquaculture. Well, today, we'll delve into the prospect that the blue economy holds for us and how the country can surmount the challenges that threaten its survival. We've already been talking about our water bodies and everything that's happening to them. Well, joining us for a conversation on this beat, we have Ms. Ivy Sewajima Ekwoko. She is team lead, Blue Economy Governance and Social Resilience Center for Coastal Management, Africa Center of Excellence.
Resilience.
Right. And we also have Dr. Noble Kwame Asari, Senior Lecturer, Department of Fisheries and Aquatic Sciences and Sectorial Liaison Officer, Center for Coastal Management, Africa Center of Excellence in Coastal Resilience. That's quite a mouthful.
Yes.
Like, can you guys shorten this for us?
Okay, ISCO. For the latter one, ISCO.
ISCO.
Yes.
Reading it out alone is... But this is quite an interesting setup you have and the conference you have up. But I'm sure many people who are watching us this morning will be asking, we know of green economy and all of that. Now, blue economy, dear, and also the Doc.
Hi.
What's the blue economy?
Thank you very much. Good morning to you and your listeners. Of course, it's a good question to ask. First of all, the colors that will be used to describe our economy is to ensure that we focus on where it actually belongs. So when we say blue, it's actually derived from the fact that the color of the sea looks blue. So every water body is considered a blue sector. So when we say blue economy, we are looking at all economic activities that are associated or can be derived from water bodies, be it fresh water, the lakes, rivers, or the marine environments, the seas and the oceans.
Okay.
And this cut across a number of things. So we are looking at something that can be associated with job creation, or employment opportunities, goods and services that can be provided, as well as income generation for the country. So we can have revenue that government can derive from that sector. So that's what blue economy basically is.
I'm just looking for a news story. We highlighted one of our river bodies, or I think lakes in Ghana, and you would see that over time the volume of water it contains has been diminishing. And I've just forgotten, I was going to check, I think it was created by a meteorite or something, and then the lake was formed maybe centuries ago. And the fish stock is diminishing, the volume of water diminishing, the water body itself is shrinking and all of that. And I just get exasperated when all of these things come up. Which brings me to my next question. Why should we be concerned about the blue economy in the first place? Ivy?
We should be concerned because it has a lot of benefits. First of all, most of the oxygen that we breathe in comes from the ocean. Right. So imagine if you have a polluted ocean, the kind of oxygen you'll be breathing in. And polluted aside that, yes, exactly. So aside that, to the resources that we get from it, talking about tourism, maritime trade, talking about aquaculture, talking about the fisheries, which is like the main thing that Ghanaians rely on from the ocean. Everything that the coast brings us. So without it, our lives are going to be in not anything good for us. So we have to be able to protect it for our own survival.
I just want to add a little bit to what
go ahead.
Ivy has said. So aside what she has alluded to, if we take what is most dear to the people of the country, that is jobs. The blue economic sector provides an immense amount of job opportunities. If we take just the fisheries that Ivy mentioned, in this country, over 2 million people are employed in that sector. 2 million. And at a point, the fisheries sector was contributing almost 6% to our GDP. So you can see that there's a lot of benefit.
The potential is there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And 80% of our trade is via the ocean too.
Yeah.
So you can imagine.
It's of immense value to us, but even policing our waters is another problem altogether.
Yeah.
Overfishing, those using all these, what do you even call them? The trawlers,
the
illegal, is it cycle or whatever?
Yeah.
All of those, are in there. But if I asked you, Doc, what is the current state of our blue economy in Ghana? What would you say?
Yes, so we are at the point where some of the aspects of blue economy, we are very much into it. So, for example, fishing. We've been fishing for over centuries. So it means that when it comes to fishing as one activity in the blue economy sector, we are doing very well. Even though there are challenges that we can talk about, there are other areas that we are developing at this moment. So, for example, aquaculture. which is also an area which can provide a lot of our food security, is something that we are not there yet. We are doing okay, but we are not there yet. If you compare us to our peers on the continent like Egypt, we are not producing that much. So we can do better. There are other areas that we haven't touched at all. So for example, with respect to aquaculture, there's another aspect called mariculture, where fish can be cultured in the open sea, but we haven't touched that. We are also having, in the energy sector, areas that are well developed around the globe, like wave energy, tidal energy, floating solar systems, which we haven't really ventured to. Even though when you talk about floating solar systems, the We Power Authority has started something on a small scale.
I see.
Yes, so we can do a lot more. So at the moment, there's a lot more potential for the country to develop its blue economy.
Okay, but if I came to you, Ivy, he's already started talking about what it means in terms of our national development. But in terms of whether we are fully harnessing it and in terms of the challenges involved, what would you say?
So in terms of fully harnessing it, he has said that we have not tapped into other potentials. And one of that is biotechnology, bioprospecting. There are a lot of flora and fauna in our coastal and marine, more than we have on land. But have we explored all that? The pharmaceutical benefits that we will get from them, we have not explored all that. So that is an aspect of it.
Okay.
And yeah.
No, you were about to add something. Go ahead.
Yeah. The question again. Sorry.
So I asked about the challenges and then how we can fully, harness the benefits of the blue economy. And you've already, touched on some of those. But
so the challenges that we are facing, apart from the anthropogenic, we also have the climate change issues that is going on, where we have sea level rise, where coastal communities are being inundated. And one of the major anthropogenic challenges is the pollution, especially plastic pollution, that globally is a major concern now. Yeah.
You spoke about anthropogenic. Someone will be watching us and saying, what's it saying?
Yeah, that's human-induced things, human-induced activities.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so the challenges are actually, there are numerous of them, and pollution is just one. And so just to put it in proper context, if you look at Ghana, we have a few challenges that need to be looked at. We have the issue of
briefly on that, because of
resource use conflict.
Okay.
So if you look at the marine space or even our river system like the Volta, the stakeholders who are utilizing that space for economic activities, aquaculture, transport, and so there are issues that borders on conflict. So how do we resolve that? We also have the issue of the illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing. So how do we address those issues? Because they all border on the blue economy space. So these are a few challenges that we can talk. There are a lot more.
I would like you to elaborate a bit on the center, the developments as far as the blue economy is concerned, and what prospects the blue economy holds for our country, Ghana.
Yeah, so the Center for Coastal Management, UCC, has been at the forefront of cutting-edge applied research in numerous areas, blue economy being one of them. And with respect to that, we have come a long way since the past 10 years. Actually, it's our 10th anniversary. We've come a long way in developing that stride. So if you look at the African continent, we are one of the pace setters as far as programs in blue economy is concerned. Currently, we have developed a master's and a PhD program in PhD, which is, I think, the only one in Africa.
Yeah.
And therefore, we are at the
so you're pace setters, so to speak.
We are also working with other stakeholders to ensure that we are addressing the issues in the blue economy. So it's working with the local folks along the coast of Ghana, policymakers, and also a lot of the practitioners, right, including media, to look at the areas that we can all come on board to work together. And that is where even the conference comes in, so that we can bring people around the table to discuss the issues.
Okay. Now, to cap off the conversation, let's talk about the conference that is coming up. What is this conference about? When is it happening? What are the details? Ivy.
So the conference is happening from the 6th to the 8th of November at the Mainsvic Hotel, and it's about the Blue Economy Conference. Actually, it's the third biannual conference that the Center for Coastal Management usually organizes on the fisheries and coastal environment. So this year's own is on the blue economy and how we can tap into sustainably using the coastal resources and the marine resources that God has blessed us with, so that we don't go back crying and praying for more blessings. So just to protect what we have and harness the benefits.
Who can participate? Who can?
Actually, it's in two folds. We have the in-person and the virtual. The in-person,
so it's hybrid.
Yes, the in-person is full. You participate via registration now is full, but because you want so many people to be part, you have the virtual version where people can log on and participate virtually at no fee. Yeah, so those are the two. So we can give out the information so that people who are interested can send an email or join via the link that we have.
All right.
Yeah. So the conference.
Final words, 20 seconds.
Yes, so the conference is on the theme Inclusive Blue Economy in Africa, and it is looking at the various aspects that we've touched on in our discussion. And we are bringing on board a lot of stakeholders. And as a matter of fact, I want to mention that there's going to be a special session for media engagement, which is a closed session to the public. So it is being sponsored by the World Bank, and I'm sure Joint News has been invited into that program. We also have 8 other sub-themes that will be running concurrently, and we will have the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana giving us the opening address.
Okay, all right. Final words?
Yeah, so all I would say is that the blue economy holds a lot of potentials and benefits to the country. So in all our activities, when you do it on land, it ends up in the ocean, so you should be careful of what you do on land if you want to survive.
Yeah. If the oceans die, we follow.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you very much, Doc. Thank you, Ivy.
Thank you for having us.
Ivy Sewajima Ekwoko is Team Lead, Blue Economy, Governance and Social Resilience. What did you say was the short form?
ESCO.
ESCO. And Dr. Noble Kwame Asari is a Senior Lecturer, Department of Fisheries and Aquatic Sciences and Sectorial Liaison Officer at ESCO.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for what you're doing for God and country. But coming up next on the AM show, we're going to talk about the modalities for the primaries, the presidential primaries in the NPP coming off this Saturday. What should you know? Right after the break, we'll be hearing from Evans Nimako, Director of Elections and Research at the NPP. Do stay. Welcome back on the AM show. As promised, we head straight into our election headquarters. Just to let you know, though, they are sponsoring. These are the sponsors for our election headquarters from now all the way till Sunday. Petrosol and the New Force. And of course, New Force, a new nation. But our guest on this beat, Evans Nimako, Director of Elections and Research with the NPP. Mr. Nimako, a very good morning to you, sir.
Good morning to you and viewers across the world.
It was good seeing you yesterday at the Gimpa event. You ran off before I could catch you, but I spotted you in there following all the legal matters. It was good seeing you anyway. Well,
thank you.
We get into the meat of the matter. On November the 4th, Saturday, tomorrow, your party is taking a giant step in terms of picking who will lead this organization, this setup, into election 2024. Let me just premise the conversation by asking, up to this point, how have preparations leading up to this election been like for your side?
Well, thank you very much for having me once again. I must say that the party's National Council put together the Okwe Committee, and the committee has worked hand in hand with our presidential candidates, with the Electoral Commission and Ghana Police Service. So far, I must say that all stakeholders will be recommended for the enormous contribution they've made towards having a very successful presidential primaries tomorrow. You know, the party is having its annual delegate conference, but when conference is supposed to elect the flag bearer, it becomes the National Congress.
Right.
In view of the numbers, the party has decentralized the conference. And so the exercise is going to take place in all the constituencies across the country. with the exception of Sunyani East. And you are looking at all polling station executives across the 38,622 polling stations, all electoral area coordinators across the 6,272, all constituency executives, all regional executive committee members, our members of parliament, our MMDCs. You are looking at the National Council members, National Executive Committee, past national officers, external branch delegates. So all put together, the committee in collaboration with our agents, i.e. our presidential candidates, one of whom is going to be elected tomorrow, have put together what you call the presidential guidelines, which has a lot of contribution and professional advice from the police service and the electoral commission. And per our understanding and agreement, all issues relating to the conduct of the exercise in terms of the elections will be handled by the electoral commission. In the same vein, all issues relating or bordering on security issues is in the care of the Ghana Police Service. We've come very far, and the party appreciates that it will take all of us to be on the page to ensure that tomorrow exercise will be free, will be fair, because the committee chaired by Professor Romakope has provided the level playing field for all stakeholders. And so far, the New Patriotic Party, by God's grace, is ready to have this successful presidential primaries.
Before we get into more of the breakdown, now that you talk about a free and fair election, you have heard, undoubtedly, some of the comments that have come through about even bribery, about manipulation of the process, about intimidation, right from Alan Chamating to others. And there are, recently, my colleague Elton Brobe spoke to Dr. Friakwato, who confirmed and said that he completely agreed with the assertions made by Alan Chamating, who has now left your party and formed his movement. The others have echoed same. The likes of the Asin Central legislator, Kennedy Agyekum, he has said that there was even an attempt to, buy him off, and he resisted it. The camp that has been accused has debunked that, denied it. But how does all of that play out for elections that are truly free and fair, especially when there is the belief that there is an establishment candidate and that the party is being ramped up in favor of this person?
Thank you. But elections all over the world, when it gets to the peak, you are likely to experience some of these nuances. But the New Patriotic Party is focused, the Elections Committee is focused, and we've brought everyone on board. We've only pleaded with our candidates and their support base to be mindful of the guidelines that we've put in place to ensure that we'll have a very successful exercise. Some of these comments, I would say, are not the best, but a lot of positives that the committee, in collaboration with the stakeholders, have chopped. And so we look out for those ones. Yesterday, for instance, there was an exercise that at the behest of the National Council of Elders, all the presidential candidates, the National Council of Elders, the national officers of the party, the Presidential Elections Committee, the Disciplinary Committee of the party, met at Alisa, which was witnessed by the President of Ghana, and we had President Kufuor coming in to give enormous advice to the party and to the presidential candidates. And so, yes, walking along the lane towards November 4, lots has passed under the bridge. But I might say that there are positives. So issue of bribery, intimidation, and all those ones you've mentioned, at this point, we've all agreed as stakeholders in the party, ensuring that we conduct a smooth exercise tomorrow. Some of the things might be left as at the hearsay level, Because as I keep on saying...
But Evans, pardon my intervention. You say hearsay, fine, but you have one of those contesting to be flag bearer, pointing at the fact that there was an attempt to get him to step aside with monetary influence. It's not just a mean person, anybody. It is someone who has served as member of parliament for how many years now, and he is now contesting to be flag bearer. He placed second when the super delegates, voting occurred, and you say it's hearsay?
I'm saying that, is there any proof that this person has done this amount to this person? And I'm saying I don't have any such evidence before me. The committee has not been given any such evidence or report or petition to go into. What we've heard is that, yes, camps have been talking. And so we're saying that we are focused. We want to conduct a very free, fair, transparent exercise. And at all times that the elections committee has met, it's been with the candidates. And so I don't want at this point to let us go into the merit or demerit of the accusations that have come along. What I'm saying is that all these happening will be deemed as some of the nuances in the electoral game. But as much as possible, we should look at the positives and have proportional issues that will border on the electoral fortunes of the party have been handled. Yes, some comments have been made against candidates, and I'm saying that when you are going to elections, even developed democracies, there are nuances within. And so, for all this being said, the New Patriotic Party yesterday was still able to put together all the presidential candidates. And it's unfortunate you could not witness it because you couldn't get the opportunity to be there. I must say that the party is formidable. The committee put together by the National Council has done the work that will ensure that all of them will appreciate that the conduct of the exercise is in line with the party's constitution, in line with the party's guidelines, in line with the rules and regulations put together to ensure that the conference will be the one that will elect for the presidential candidate. And the tomorrow's victory is not any particular person's victory, but the victory for the New Patriotic Party.
Now let's talk about hosting this event in all the constituencies. There was talk about this initially, and people felt that no, this dissemination of voting would allow for influence and all of that. What measures has the party put in place to ensure that those concerns that were raised initially will not pan out come tomorrow?
Okay, so those rich issues have been raised as much as possible and to a large extent. Our engagement with the key stakeholders have allayed their fears that there will be any malfeasance, because for each of the polling stations that the exercise will take place, there are guidelines that must be followed. You must be within the register to have access into the electoral area or voting area. And that has been discussed with the candidates, with the police, and with the EC. And so even the selection of the venue for the conduct of this exercise was done by the Electoral Commission, and all parties accepted the venue selected, and where there were issues, changes were made with the agreement of all key stakeholders, as I've mentioned. And so if you are doing this and across the 330 voting centers, you have given accreditation to candidate agents who will see to the interests of their respective principals, then you'll be assured that some of the issues raised or risks identified will be put to rest. And so I can assure you the level of engagement, agreement we've had, upon which we've had the guidelines that will be used for the conduct of the exercise, fears have been allayed, and the exercise will be as smooth as you can imagine.
Let's also talk about the numbers. I have seen quite a number of numbers bandied about, even up to about 220,000 that would be voting. But what I have seen that we subscribe to, or at least is close to the official figure, 208,342. Of course, that includes some of those you mentioned, MPs, MMDCEs, ministers and deputy ministers, foundation members, national council members, patrons and council of elders, regional officers, constituency officers, patrons, constituency co-elders. The list is a long one. But what is the official figure as of now?
Thank you. I can tell you that because we will not have the electoral coordinators in Mampong voting as well as the constituency executive in Mampong. We are not having polling station executive, electoral coordinators, and constituency executives in Sunyani East voting. And therefore, the number as we have, putting all together, is 204,144.
204,000.
144 delegates across the country will be voting tomorrow.
All right. Thanks so much for that clarity. So we have also seen, I have heard some people call on your party heading into the Congress tomorrow that they are hoping for peace. They are hoping there will be no skirmishes. There have been incidents of some people trying to photograph whom they voted for and all of that. What assurance are you giving the members of your party, the leadership of your party, and Ghanaians at large, because we don't want anything that will degenerate into anything else, in terms of how peaceful the process will be tomorrow?
Thank you. It is going to be very peaceful. This is an exercise that all security arrangements that have been put together, or the security architecture, is chaired or in the hands of the IGP. And the level of discussion we've had, there's assurance that the police will provide the professional services to the party and to installations of the new patriotic party. The party has provided to the Electoral Commission the list or album of our voters or delegates in all voting centers. The party has made it clear to the rank and file that at all voting centers, the Council of Elder Chair and Chair of the Patron at the constituency level will represent the Presidential Elections Committee. There is going to be strict compliance of these guidelines put together in the presidential elections guidelines for the conduct of the exercise. It is going to be very peaceful. All those who are not delegates, this is an election that is being conducted in the full glare of the public. We expect full compliance. If anybody has other thoughts of causing any mayhem, our advice, it should be left in the minds of those people. Once it is exhibited, the Ghana Police Service is ready to confront those issues. For our delegates, polling station executive, electoral coordinators, constituency executive, our cherished regional executive, founding members, national council members representing regions, external branch delegates, past executive, you are looking at Council of Elders and Patrons, members of Parliament, MMDC. I would say that these are senior party members with the responsibility to ensure that the new Patriotic Party remains very united, focused to wrestle power again come 2024 general elections. We are focused and nothing will detract us from getting our objective done. The exercise, as is going to take place in all constituencies and the party headquarters at Asalam Down, is expected to start in the morning at 7 a.m. and will close at 2 p.m. At the end of it, the Electoral Commission will do the collation, and when collation is over, the party will converge at the Accra Sports Stadium forecourt, where the final declaration will be made, and the presidential candidate Addo. This exercise we've discussed with all stakeholders. The General Secretary lawyer could be yesterday engage the press and lay out bare all these arrangements put together by the Presidential Elections Committee. We expect all members to comply. And as we've been advised, it is better to be a messenger in a party in government than a general secretary in an opposition party. We are together, we are focused, and the party is organizing a very successful presidential primaries come tomorrow.
Was that a subtle dig at Fifi Fiavikwete?
I went to a wife.
No, I mean, just clarify, was that a dig at Fifi Kwete?
You see, for us as New Patriotic Party, we agree that we don't need to be friends. We agree that we are bound by the dictates of the elephants. We are under the elephant shadow and we comply with our internal arrangement. And so I can understand that for some people, they have difficulty knowing what the New Patriotic Party is. But I can assure you that when we are done with tomorrow's exercise, the world will know that the New Patriotic Party is genuine and we are ready to put our force together to ensure that the over 18 million people in the register, as we have it, majority of them will vote for our presidential candidate come 2024 presidential elections.
Just the final bit. Are you voting tomorrow? Do you have a vote?
Members of the National Executive Committee and National Council are delegates to this conference.
Right.
And per my position, I am a delegate from the National Council, National Executive Committee.
Which of the candidates are you supporting?
The New Patriotic Party.
You have a candidate that you're supporting, right?
The New Patriotic Party comes tomorrow, 4th November 2023. We emerge victorious.
Yes, but as one with a vote, you are going to vote for one of them, right?
The decision to vote is a franchise given to delegate as I've listed. And so we expect all delegates, except those who could not make it but appointed proxies, to go through the process, observe the rules, and cast their votes. At the end of the exercise, the New Patriotic Party will emerge victorious.
Will Evans Nimaku vote tomorrow?
All things being equal, the battle is the Lord's.
Will you vote tomorrow, sir? Will you cast your ballot? Will you express your opinion? Will you vote?
I don't think Evans voting should be too much of a news.
Oh, but this is just about, it's like asking, will you vote in the 2024 election? I'm not, you are not answering whether you vote for this person or that person. Will you vote? That's it. Will you vote?
My brother, definitely I'll vote tomorrow and I'll vote come December 2024.
Thank you, Evans Nimaku. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. Once more, it's a great pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
All right. And that is the Director of Election and Research with the NPP. He's definitely casting his ballot tomorrow. But stay with us when we return after the break. In this ever-changing landscape of peace and security, effective leadership plays a pivotal role in addressing the complex challenges faced by nations and organizations worldwide. Well, recognizing that critical importance of strategic leadership in the field of peace and security, GIMPA Training and Consulting has partnered with the African Union's Department of Political Affairs, Peace and Security for a special training on leadership. We'll bring you details of that after the break. Welcome back on the AM show. Peace, security, leadership, training. Well, they go hand in hand, and that's why you have the GTC partnering the African Union's Department of Political Affairs, Peace and Security for this upcoming special training on leadership. And that's why we also have Prof in the studio joining us, Professor Charles Amwate. He is Director, GIMPA Training and Consulting. He joins us for a conversation on this. Prof, good morning. Good to have you. It's interesting. Just yesterday, I was at GIMPA.
Wonderful.
At your moot court facility.
Great.
The only problem...
you like our beautiful Green Hill campus.
Oh, it is refreshing. It is nice. It's been a while since I got there. As a Legonite, when you go to other campuses, you see that you guys are doing well.
Wonderful.
You are doing well. Yeah. My only issue at the event, where they're having a lot of fun, it was at George Frie's
lecture. Right.
And then the lights decided to...
Oh, you see,
so it was,
that's a national challenge.
We were hot and all of that. But beyond that, fantastic.
Right.
But tell us more about the partnership between GIMPA, your GTC, and the African Union's Department of Political Affairs, among others.
Right.
How did this even come about?
Right. Now, thank you very much for having me on your show, and good morning to all your listeners and viewers. Well, GIMPA is roughly 60 years old, and our mandate has been developing capacity of leadership on the continent. Over the past few years, we've decided to really expand our reach to look at how we can support various international organizations in building stronger leadership capacity on the continent. And so last year, the African Union undertook a capacity needs assessment. I mean, you're aware of the challenges we're having on the continent with relation to peace and security, and having an AU that is strong, that is able to address these challenges. And so we identify critical gap as leadership, because like somebody said, leadership is a cause, everything else is effect. And and the African Union got in touch with GIMPA, knowing what we have been doing on the continent in terms of leadership capacity, to really take a look at the capacity gaps they have and develop a tailor-made program to really bridge that gap. And so we have developed actually a series of training programs addressing issues on leadership, strategic planning and strategic thinking, project management, and monitoring and evaluation. And next week, we are rolling out the course on leadership.
I see. Interesting. Yeah. But in terms of strategic leadership, why is it crucial to the peace and security landscape on the continent?
Right. Thank you very much. As you are aware, in particular, the Department for Political Affairs, Peace and Security is actually carrying about 80% of the work that the AU does. And so any transformation that happens in that department significantly affects and impacts on the mandate of AU, in the bigger picture. Now, most of the staff of the department are experts in various fields like governance, political affairs, peace and security, and their primary responsibility has been to formulate policies to support issues around how to promote peace and security on the continent. What we have observed is that sometimes there is a significant gap in terms of the leadership that is required to really get things done and making sure that the policies are having impact on the continent. And so even though they are subject level experts, they lack the capacity to manage the various units. For example, we have the elections unit, mediation unit, we have various departments, directorates within the department, and all of them now need to develop management, administration, and leadership skills to be able to go beyond their subject expertise and manage the institution in a way as to deliver results.
And come November the 9th and 10th, you'll be setting sail, you'll be heading to Addis Ababa in Ethiopia. What exactly is going to be happening there?
Right, so we'll be launching the course, and we're going to start with the module on leadership. We're going to have the commissioner who will be opening the forum, but we have identified 20 key leaders within this department, and they are going to go through the course. Once we are done with that, this will be rolled out to the whole department and possibly the whole of the African Union. And not just the African Union, but our expectation is that these same course will be rolled out for institutions like ECOWAS Commission, SADC, the East African community, and all the RECs will also benefit from this training program.
All right, so you've already mentioned those who will benefit, but could you elaborate a bit on what specific skills, knowledge skills, they will be acquiring when it comes to the peace and security landscape of the continent? What exactly? Give us some deeper breadth of what is to come.
Yeah, thank you very much. So our expectations at the end of this 2-day course, negotiation skills, because one of the major mandates is really how to negotiate among parties, making sure that we address the different interest groups. How do we engage at a strategic level with development partners and different interest groups who are coming and working with us on the continent? Issues around strategic thinking. How do we plan in the long term for the next 50 years for African Union? Where are we going to be? You know, so these are issues we want to challenge our current leaders managing the African Union, that we need to think, we need to be forward-looking, and we have to develop the skills and the competences required to meet the emerging demands for the African Union.
What is the theme, basically?
Yes, the theme is Leadership Unleashed. And
Leadership Unleashed.
Okay. Yes. And we are saying that our critical challenge as a continent has been with leadership.
You've got that right.
Yes.
You've got that right.
Yes. And this is, in fact, we believe that if you can address the leadership challenge, everything else will fall in place. And we are also aware that we have been doing things in a certain way for the past, 50 years in the Union. If we keep doing things the same way, we get the same results.
Exactly.
And so
I think it's Henry Ford who said that.
Henry Ford said that, And so the only way to get different results is to do things differently. And so we hope that with this exposure, and we have actually the experts in the field, professors who are not just academics, but also practitioners. They will all be flying to Addis Ababa and going to go through this training. Because it's going to be hands-on and very participatory, engaging. We're going to share case studies, and we hope that at the end of the 2 days, we're going to be able to reorient the leadership of AU into strategic thinking that can have development impact on the continent.
At the end of all this, what do you hope to achieve with this collaboration, working hand in glove with the African Union to do this? And what are you looking forward to the impact of empowered strategic thinking leaders on the continent? What are you hoping will be the palpable impact? Because if you say impact, then there's nothing to show.
Yeah, sure.
So what are you thinking in those along those lines?
Now, thank you very much. African Union has been existing for quite a long time, but we have realized that peace and security, the situation is getting worse over the years. So the question is, our activities and the programs and the policies, the directives and the protocols, are they really making a difference? And I mean, citizens of the Union are also asking questions. What is the relevance of the African Union? And we believe that this training will lead to a rethinking about the mandates of the African Union and the kind of leadership that is required today to lead African Union in a new direction that will have impact on the citizens. And so we are very hopeful, and I think one of the things we'll be emphasizing is the change of mindset, change of attitude, and believe in the African that we can do it. And so that is the kind of thing we want to push into the leadership of the African Union. We can do it. Let's take ownership of our development process. Let's invest in our people. And we hope that this training is going to become a scheme of service within the African Union, so that anybody who enters into the African Union and the other regional economic groups will have to go through this training, so that the culture of leadership and strategic thinking is actually inculcated in every staff of the union.
Interesting. Before we wrap up, I mean, in the end, you're having these collaborations coming to bear. Are you thinking of future collaborations along those lines? And for this event, for this training and all of that, who can participate? Individuals, organizations? Can you break it down for us?
Sure.
Who can and who can't?
So this particular training program is actually now tailored for the African Union and its leadership. So we're looking at directives, very restricted at this stage. But we hope to replicate this in the entire continent. So from the African Union, we are coming to the regional economic groups, ECOWAS Commission, SADC, East African, the community, and we're also going to be engaging with member states. So as I'm talking to you, GTC is heavily involved in even in Somalia. We send our professors to Somalia. We are helping build their public service, training parliamentarians, and so on. We hope to translate this into the member states as well. So that is a vision we have as GTC. So we're not just a Ghanaian brand now, we are a continent-wide brand.
And we're proud of you for the feats
so
you're
much.
attaining, because this is a crucial aspect. If you've listened over time to Professor PLO Lumumba, among others, it will just give you a picture of where we are as a continent and how much more we have to do just to catch up, not even to overtake, catch up.
True.
We have a long way
Very
to go.
good.
Any final words, Prof, as we wrap? Any final words?
Right. So, I mean, I would just want to let our partners all over, development partners who would like to engage with GIMPA, this is something that we believe is very critical. I know development partners are always concerned about, the millions of dollars, billions that are pumped into development work with very little results that can be reported. We believe that leadership is so critical, and as GIMPA as an institution, we want to focus on building the capacity of leadership. And we want to be partnering with, the World Bank, the African Union. We've started with the regional economic groups. We also want to get them on board so that together we'll be able to not just develop the current leadership, but also a new crop of leadership who will be manning the various agencies, either at the national level, the regional level, or even the sub-regional levels.
Prof. Munir Jumayo, we're grateful for your time. And that's all time will allow us on this beat. The one who joined us, Professor Charles Amwate, Director, GIMPA Training and Consulting. And this is what their collaboration is as far as the African Union is concerned. Stay with us. There's still more to come as far as cities and habitats, or at least the Habitat Fair is concerned. We'll bring you more right after the break. Well, it's the 14th installment of the Joy News EcoBank Habitat Fair. This year has been fantastic. So many road shows already for the first time in Tema, and the main event at the Accra International Conference Center. But as we get ready for that, we have a lot of discussions coming your way, and one of those will have to be with, of course, cities and habitats, rent to own. And joining me for a conversation, Project Officer, Cities and Habitats, Aaron Ni Odate Lamte. Every time you come on the show, you remind me of somebody. Do you know the person?
No, you have to tell me.
The footballer.
Really? Well, it's true. Everyone tells me my name is mentioned. But
once I hear the name, I take a look at you again and I realize, okay, so it's not the footballer.
No, I play football.
You do, eh?
Yes, I do.
Okay, then there's something to do with the Ni Odate Lamte.
Possibly.
When was the last time you played football?
Well, it's been ages. I mean, over a year now. I used to play as a kid, yes.
I don't even remember the last time I played football. But let's talk about, all of this, the theme for this year, we're talking about affordability, comfort, luxury, whatever it is, we have something for you. And that is what the Planned City Extension Project also stands for. So how's it going with the new Accra City project? What's new?
The new Accra City project is going on steadily. I think the buildings are coming up. We are having a lot of clients also coming on board because a lot of people have seen the need to live in a city and how economical that will be for you when you have your markets and lorry stations well planned and also organized so that you can have everything going well for you. So it's going on steadily. The buildings too are coming up, and that is how things are going currently. Although things have slowed down a bit, but the process and the planning that went into the city's development have kept it going.
So you're still on course?
Yes, very much on course.
When are people likely to move in? Those who have patronized, your buildings and all of that. When are they likely to move in?
Okay, currently, I think some have moved in already. About 3 of our clients have moved into their buildings. We are hoping that by the close of the year, we'll have about 7 more clients moving in. Because of the nature of our payment, or the structure of our payment, doesn't put pressure on both the client and us to get it done because you're paying it at your own pace. So those who have gotten to where they are supposed to move in have moved in, and then they are continuing paying. Some are yet to move in. And by the close of, let's say, next year, we have over 30 people in there living in the space.
But in terms of traffic, people are always worried about traffic congestion, you know, that stretch, the Dodowa, Dawenya, Pram stretch, Afienya as well. And they always say that, look, it's going to be difficult. In fact, you speak to some people and they tell you living in such communities might be hectic. What's the latest on that? How are you circumventing that problem?
All right, the issue of traffic is all around. I mean, those coming from Kasua will complain of traffic. Those coming from Adenta will complain of traffic. So it's all around the cardinal points of Ghana or Accra. Yes.
You face it.
So Dawenya and Pram is no exception. But the good news is that work is going on, dualization of that road. Yeah. So if those that have been dualized are having traffic and we who are single are having traffic, if ours is dualized and the overpasses are done, I'm sure the place will be very conducive for everyone to live in. So that is the assurance we are giving to our clients, that between now and let's say a year or two, I'm sure the issue of traffic will go down. And mostly the traffic are time bound. So because of the rush hour in the morning, 6 a.m. by 8:30, 9, those coming from Pram to Accra, the traffic at ease. If you are going from Accra to Pram in the mornings, you go on a free flow, and vice versa in the evening. So that is the structure. So if we are able to strategize well, I'm sure we'll ease the situation of being in traffic in that stretch.
Even apart from traffic, I guess even before people think of traffic, one of the things they would contemplate is cost, okay? The pricing of your buildings. In recent years, you've had to take some hits just to satisfy your customers. Are you going to change your prices ahead of next year?
Okay, so prices with the rent to own will not change.
That is rent to own?
Yeah, the rent to own. That's the cities and habitats. The scheme we are using to sell is the rent to own. So spread it over 25 years so that you pay. But what may change will be the term. The terms may change in the sense that instead of going there 25 years all, we're going to give you 15 years to make payments for the building. So definitely when you're making payment, the cost, your monthly installment will go up.
It will go up.
But the total cost of the building will not go up. So we are just reducing the number of years you used to pay for your building, so that, because when you look at the economics, everyone is feeling the pinch.
Yeah.
So we need to strategically plan to be able to
you mustn't run at a loss. So you are trying to manage the situation to please the customer
and also be able to give them a good structure.
Right. And of course, quality of the structures
is important.
That is crucial. You can't cut corners on that.
You can't compromise on it.
It's amazing work you guys are doing, and at least it is good that you have these facilities available. But come D-Day at the Accra International Conference Center, what can participants, those who will come forward, what can they expect from the planned city extension projects, cities and habitats rent to own?
Okay, so cities and habitats are giving clients a lot of goodies. Even we've started from the Achimota Sales Center. We are giving them a reduction in the registration fee, giving them 50% discount. So anyone who comes there. So if you install into the conference center and you come to a stand and come to register. Maybe you've heard about us, read of us on the internet, and you are satisfied with what we are giving out, or you want to know more, and there in the city you decide to register, you're going to pay 250 Ghana cedis instead of the 500 cedis registration fee for the gold and silver properties, and then you pay 500 cedis for the platinum properties.
Okay.
So that is what we are offering at first, and then also we are giving the 1530 promo. So currently, when you pay 30% of your total cost, you have access to move into the building and then be living in the space. So you own a house within that space as you continue to pay. When you finish paying the 30% outright, when you pay it outright, we give you a 15% discount on the 30% that you are paying. So that is also something we're giving to our clients. Then the third one we are giving them as well is the lands that we are selling. So the lands are going for, within 2 years, we are paying 73,500. But when you pay within a year, we give you pay 63,500. And then when you pay within outright, you get 20% discount on the 73,500. So you pay 53,500. So those are the packages we are giving to clients who walk in there. And then we give you free advice on anything, any property you want to buy, materials you want to put into it and all that. And then we give you, all these things are available for everyone who come to the conference center.
Of course, we all have to make our way to the conference center. On D-Day, it's all about the Joy News EcoBank Habitat Fair as well. Aaron, thank you so much for joining the conversation this morning.
You're welcome.
Aaron Neodati-Lamte is Project Officer, Cities and Habitats. But stay with us, still to come. The Infantipim Old Boys Association, MOBA, as we properly know them, they have a conversation with us. It's all about the 2023 annual fundraising dinner dance. 147 years, and MOBA 93 is joining in the studio. We'll be right back with more. Thank you for staying with us. I'm a Bobu, yes, but I'm going to be hosting the MOBAS today. The Infantipim Old Boys Association is in the building. Of course, it's all love that we share across. And it's all about the 147th anniversary. And they're marking it in grand style because they are having the annual fundraising dinner dance. And then MOBA 93 is actually going to foot that. It's not going to be small. It's not going to be small job. Anyway, let me introduce the guests joining Dean Akoto Okran, MOBA 1993. Yes. Welcome aboard. I think the Greys say it all. They say it all. And there's also Achu Agbemabiese, MOBA 2003, Deputy Executive Secretary, MOBA Secretariat. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
So was it intentional to choose a 10-year gap between the two of you?
So the whole thing is actually I'm over 2002, but some people think I'm 2003 because I have a lot of friends in 2003. So I'm sure the people
really
made that mistake. The issue is that we have something known as sponsoring year groups. So for every anniversary celebration, we bring 4 sponsoring year groups together. Okay. So we have 73, 83, 93, 2003. Last year I was the secretary of the sponsoring year group. 2002 was our 10. So I joined the secretariat as deputy executive secretary. This is my senior. In the first we say once a senior, always a senior. He can tell me to kneel down right now, I'll kneel down.
Should we try it?
No. Let me align.
No. All right, guys. So 147 years. Sure. That's a long time of delivering quality education and everything in between. Just to kickstart the conversation, what have these years been like? In recent times, I know, NSMQ challenges. But in terms of education and what you stand for, products like Kofi Annan, among others in there, what has the journey been like? Exactly. Dean, let me start with you. What has the journey been like?
All right. It's been a good one. With products like you've mentioned, Kofi Annan, even Shaman Cycle. But I must state that Infantipim started on a rough road. At the point it was a roller coaster. That's where we got the Faithful 8. Was then there were no teachers at the school at the time to teach the 8 people. So they themselves decided to educate themselves, go and write the exams that was ahead of them and also support the upcoming ones. And so that's why we have the monuments in the school, right by the administration, in between the administration block and assembly hall, named the Faithful 8. So they actually lifted the name Infantipim School, and we are riding on the back of that. So then from then, it's been a good journey up to now. I mean, the NMS skill thing is just by the by. It's not really our focus.
Oh, I mean, you've had your day in the sun.
Yeah,
And,
we did.
and I'm sure at some point, Infantipism will rise again. It's always that way.
Yes.
With the
So actually, the NSMQ, I mean, we were semi-finalists last year. We were semi-finalists this year. We nearly knocked out Presec. It's just, but next year I can promise you we are winning it. If we don't win, look for me.
But you see, we don't want to go down that road because nearly the infant cancer move.
Next year, look for me. Next year, look for me if we don't win it.
Right.
Okay, so just like you said, we have a lot of famous alumni. I mean, I know Kofi Annan is the famous one, but a friend of mine,
probably the most prominent.
a friend of mine recently told me, it's a female. He said every office she enters, 2 out of 5 top people are Mobes. Obviously, because I mean we were the first school, and so we have a lot more alumni who are in positions. It's true that sometimes, especially the older old boys, it's not that they are not fascinated by the NSMQ, but they feel it's just a test of root learning. So sometimes they are, but the younger generation want it for bragging rights, and so we are putting in place a program. From next year, you hear about it. Don't be surprised if we win it till 2030.
Oh wow!
Don't be surprised.
You want to do some Real Madrid thing?
Oh yeah.
In the NSMQ.
Don't be surprised.
Because for now it is Presec doing that.
Yes.
But let's talk about your dinner, the anniversary, and then the dinner upcoming. What is the plan, Dean?
All right. So for each year we celebrate the school, and we do a speech and prize giving day. It's a year-long activity to raise funds to, as it were, put up an infrastructure to support the school. So this year we are looking at the athletic track for the Kwabuche Sports Center.
So you're targeting sports.
Sports. Okay. So we are done with the TEF, the football pitch is done. This year we are looking at the athletic tracks, and that's what is the focus. And so the dinner dance is seeking to raise funds to, as it were, complete this project.
Okay.
For we believe that we've gotten to a point where it's not just about educating with books, but also sports is also important.
It must be a holistic education, well-rounded person, so not just book and kwan.
Exactly, we can build a better future for the nation.
Right.
And so we are looking at this project. And so this dinner dance is seeking to raise money to go and support this one.
How much are we looking at? How much is involved?
So for the project, the current phase is 50 million Ghana cedis.
Is it 50 or 15?
15
million
Ghana cedis. Actually, the project is in phases. Last year, our sponsor year group, we did water relocation to improve upon the water situation in the school generally, because that's always been a challenge to teachers and students. So we've really improved upon that. Now is the tartan tracks. When that is done, the stands are also being done concurrently. We'll finish, the plan is to make sure we are done by 2026.
Okay.
And then launch it very big. It is an international standard pitch. We suspect ASEC, Mimosa, Kotoko, everybody can come and use it.
Hey, ASEC Mimosa as far.
Yes.
You are spreading your...
Because it's very...
I think Côte d'Ivoire, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's very international. I mean, any record set there will be recognized by the
world standard.
Yeah, world standard.
We have the football, we have the basketball, we have lawn tennis, swimming courts.
An entire sports complex. It's Kwabuche Center for Sports Excellence. So this year's SYG, they will build the phase they are building now. We'll commission it in November. And then the next year, group 2024, is Sankuma and his people will take over, and then on it goes. The plan is that by 2025, 2026, we should be done with it.
But that's a brilliant project.
Yes.
I mean, the sound of it and what it would also do for beyond even your school, the central region, sports interest, even attracting a certain group of people into the school and all of that, and what it could mean at the national level in terms of sports. That's brilliant. I think if that could be replicated across different regions, even if it were one school per region, that would be a fantastic idea.
And that was the idea. So our focus was building it for central region. Okay. So maybe Presec will forget more about science and maths and build it for build it for greater.
What did you have this morning? Me, if they come after you, I know they here.
And then on we will go. But we also have other activities apart from the fundraising dinner dance. The climax of the activities in Cape Coast, which is the week ahead. We'll have the speech and prize giving day. We have the commission of the project, as he has said. We have other things. We have the homecoming. That's when the boys
That's on
come
Friday.
Friday.
The 10th.
The 10th Friday. That's when the boys come and reminisce the old times. Enjoy themselves in Cape Coast. We have a lot also coming up in Cape Coast. You will hear of us.
All right. So finally, as we wrap the conversation, what can we expect in the coming days to the MOBA out there? What will you say to them and maybe to people of goodwill?
Sure.
What are your final words?
So our colleague schools in Cape Coast and beyond, they always come together to help us celebrate.
I've seen that. I hosted a MOGA. Is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Infantsman Girls.
yes. Was it Infantsman? Or
Yeah.
one of them.
Yeah,
Moga is Infantsman Girls.
Yes. I don't know whether, but I think it was Moga. It was beautiful. I think
Sure.
I saw Augustcans, I
They all
saw
come
Discans.
in.
I felt it was really nice.
Yes.
You know, having
It's a Cape Coast fraternity.
you fight, but you.
Oh, the fight.
So
Dinner.
even with the dinner dance, it's not just for us.
Yeah.
We have the gays coming, we have the Holy Coast coming. I mean, I know that these schools would want to come and snatch them for us, but it's our show.
We are father for. We are father for.
I see.
Yeah, we are father for. So
And it's at a token anyway. Single tickets is for 300, double 500.
Yeah, so you can come.
And if you want tickets, you can call 0244 838363.
Please do that again.
0244
8363.
And you're good to go.
Is there a place online where people can?
Yeah, sure. So
Yes.
when you call the number,
When you call the number, we'll help you with
will
online
direct you.
tickets as well.
Because the whole idea was to get it and to sort of control it. It's coming on at East Legon. Delegates.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Delegates Gardens.
Delegates Gardens. Yeah.
So the number to call 0244 838363. That's the number on which you can call and make all the necessary reservations. Well, thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining the conversation. Dean Akoto Okran, MOBA 1993. And as for this gentleman here, he would be my junior. At that level, I had to. I also left around what he has here. It's just that.
Not
to forget.
So I could also punish you.
Oh yeah. I'll kneel down.
Yeah.
If you ask me to kneel down, I'll kneel down.
Not to forget, we're inviting you.
We're inviting
And Katie as well.
Come.
Kingsley.
Katie.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
You know he's a
I think this one you have to. It's a straight access route because you don't need.
No.
This one is just old students.
Especially when I've been here too before.
Okay. Anyway,
I used to be here.
Yejamamo. Smooth road. This one, no paving needed. Dean Akoto Okran is MOBA 1993. We also have Achu Agbema Biese, MOBA 2002, as he corrected. Deputy Executive Secretary, MOBA Secretariat. We wish you the very best. God bless, because if you do this, you do it for God and country, not just the school. So let's all come on board. Well, that's our recap of the conversation this morning. Coming up next, we have Joy News Desk. From us to you, we love you. Thank you so much for your time.